everyone. Hello, YouTube. Hi, welcome on in. Hi, dude, guys. I am beyond fucking excited for Mushoku Tensei. Literally, every Sunday on the Sunday dot, we will be watching Mushoku Tensei here on stream, ladies and gentlemen. It will turn, it's going from Oshinoko Fridays to Mushoku Tensei Sundays. Ladies and gentlemen, I am throwing this out there so you guys are aware almost fucking immediately. Have I read the novels? No. I read some chapters that are clearly labeled on screen, and guess what, boys? Hold on, give me a second. I've had to run to my bookshelf because guess what? You wonderful individuals, Lol Orange and everyone else that's helping out, have gotten me the first couple of volumes that are coming in. Thank you. You guys are absolutely fucking amazing. Guess what I'm reading? Yeah, the physical like novels. Guess what I'm reading at work? Guess what I'm taking to work to read? Endless Pain, hello, welcome on in. Guys, I am beyond, I can't state it enough, beyond excited to go ahead and do this, to go ahead and jump into this. Hold on, I have to turn on one last thing here. I am beyond excited to jump into this. This is so fucking based. Thank you. I've had these on my bookshelf. They're very, very precious, and I'm trying to take them to work so I can read it in between sessions. I can't wait. I can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. If anything comes true, if anything I talk about comes true, don't think, it's because he's... No, guys, I do this with every other show out there. It's picked randomly, except for Mushoku Tensei, because that's being dictated in by me, because I don't care what people think. I am sorry. This is one show that I am passionate about, that I genuinely love, and that's why we're doing Mushoku Tensei Sundays, so come and join us. With that, I do want to go ahead and state, guys, if any predictions do come true, it's not because we're reading the manga or anything like that or reading ahead. No, it's just quite literally we've been based everything off of psychology, and we're trying to go ahead and explain it. You can look it through any video on here. Everything comes with an explanation for the psychological elements of it, or just simple lines of questioning. I am so excited to get into this. Guys, are you guys ready? I hope you guys are. Not yet. No, you were supposed to read them on stream. The content would last till I retire. A-Rob. Oh, my friend, trust me. Once the time comes, it'll be interesting. Are you guys ready, ladies and gentlemen? Because I am. There will be a lot of stopping. There will be a lot of talking. There will be a lot of analyzing, even though it is a trailer, I know. But if I can make a minute, 30-second intro play for... Analyze that shit for an hour and something. I mean, what's there not to talk about? Also, SB and probably Nat from Natalie X Hunter might be joining us from time to time in discussions of Mushoku Tensei and stuff on stream. So if you guys enjoy those content creators, especially after the analysis and reaction, feel free to come and join us. Let's go. Oh wait, I need my closed caption in here. Does it come with English? Does it come with English? Does it come with English? Ah! Okay, hold on. No. 師匠、俺を導いてください。北には何しに行くんだい？転移事件に巻き込まれた母を探しに。だからこんな無茶な依頼を受けようってんだろ？私たちと一緒に受けないかい？足引っ張って誰か死ぬようなことになったら。I'm gonna let the trailer play full through all the way. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna let the trailer play full all the way through. I'm gonna be taking notes, and then we're gonna come back and break it down. Sound good? Sound good? Sound like a plan? All right, let's back it up just a little bit. Yeah? Does that sound like a plan? I hope it does. Let's go. 師匠、俺を導いてください。北には何しに行くんだい？転移事件に巻き込まれた母を探しに。だからこんな無茶な依頼を受けようってんだろ？私たちと一緒に受けないかい？足引っ張って誰か死ぬようなことになったら許せないんだから。無影小魔術が使えるなんて君も相当なんでしょう？それって答える必要ありますかね？こんなものが使えたところで。Oh, oh, hold on. 戻ってくるわけじゃありませんよ。どこまでも行ける気がしたあの時の僕はどんなもうどうに Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh shit, there's so much. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm being over fucking burned here. Ah! Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 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 Shisho. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just... Hold on, hold on. Okay, yeah. Yeah. There's so much fucking information crammed in here. July 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what we're doing July 2nd here on stream because I think that's a Sunday. Oh, fuck yes! Let's go! Let's go! Okay, we're about to back it up. I've been taking some notes here because holy fucking shit, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys ready? It's Dare Sunday. All right, we're gonna back it up. We're actually gonna take the time here and like analyze sort of all the information that's been thrown our way. I just wanted to go and play it all the way through once and get the feel for what's coming. It is a Sunday. I already just checked. Well, for me, it's a Sunday, right? I believe. So, there's a couple key things that pop up to mind here. I'm gonna go ahead and go through this, right? There's a couple things that make me afraid of what's to come. I think my boy is hurt beyond belief. The impact that a relationship dissolution or a breakup can have. I literally wrote a thesis paper on this, right? In case you guys are wondering, how can you know the effects of like a breakup and stuff? Literally spent my entire master's program writing like thesis on breakups and specifically how it affects us as individuals and how it like it impacts the way that we go ahead and like feel sensations and how we heal and everything. I have a feeling that while his social cues, he still might be there. It's not like he's there. Right? He might be literally in the journey of trying to heal through this environment, right? Because he might be OP as fuck, and maybe this is one of the key reasons why he's tagging along with. I think with these people is to make enough money to survive or get somewhere. He's on autopilot. Yeah. And that's an aspect of it. Not really autopilot, but more like just survival mode, right? If need be. And through that, something that's really, really apparent and something that's like screaming at me is just the separation distance here. If you look, I'm gonna go ahead and just bring this up like I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring up my little filter thing. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Filter. I know it doesn't make things better, but it should help, right? The little separation here between both of them and the way that his feet, like he's literally doing what I like to call a defense grab, right? And it's usually visible in teenagers and kids once they've already experienced an insane amount of trauma, especially when it comes to core trauma issues. Whenever it comes to relationships and stuff, they put their feet up, right? Usually, and they'll hug in because they're afraid of letting down their walls. And this is screaming at me, hey, even if you get physically, like say that emotionally you start getting close with them, what's not to say that the dangers of what may have happened already don't start coming up again, where it's like the insecurities of like, hey, let's say that you get with this cute girl with the yellow hair here. They don't, oh, hold on, give me, oh, speaking of which, we just got a letter, we just got a letter, we just got a letter, wonder who it's from. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of which, more! Let's go, ladies and gentlemen! Yeah, I know, because it's just the... Perfect fucking timing! Oh, my bananas. Wait, why did... I have 4, but not 3. Oh, that's weird. That is weird. You ripped that incredibly easily. Blessed be the holy relic. Blessed. Oh, God. Blast the air horns. But through that, the issue that I'm getting at is he might say that he might try and so my thoughts are just rivaling at the moment. Sexuality wise, I wonder if he has any issues because trauma can affect your indulgence of sex. You can either become hypersexual or hyposexual. Hyper means that you overly indulging in sex in order to go and cover up a traumatic base, and hypo means that while you want to go ahead and be there for someone, you can't. And this is very common in relationship dissolutions that affect us in so many ways, shapes, and forms. You know, and this is a big aspect that I'm jumping into, which is why you even have things like relationship hoppers, people that tend to go ahead and go from relationship and already have, like, let's say that I'm in a relationship with the bottom of keyboard Chan, right? And then in comes phone Chan, and I'm like, oh no, I'm still with keyboard Chan here, but like I'm setting this guy up so that I could instantly move from this relationship to this relationship without any issues. There are people that do that because they don't want to go ahead and address their core issues down at the bottom of whatever they're going through, right? So I wonder if, like, for him, if he's going through any form monkey branching, yeah, if he's going through any form of, like, of an insane, I because a lot of people do, sexual trauma, because that's what happens when you go through a really, really rough transitional period like that. And especially when his illusions as to what sex meant was already ruptured previously, right? He had an illusion as to what sex meant. He was respecting boundaries. He was doing all of these wonderful things. In comes Eris. They grow, they start getting feelings for one another. Sex happens. Oh, yeah, he woke up feeling like a champ. And then guess what? You had sex. Yes, but it completely affects you as an individual, and now you're lonely, and now you're back to square zero, where you thought sex might mean that you now have a partner, that you now have someone that you can share some stuff with, and now you're hurt. You're now like everything that you did trying to care for someone and bring someone all the way through, it might have been for selfish reasons or selfless reasons or whatever was the mentality behind it. All of a sudden, it just crap, like ruptured. It just turned to crap, and you're now here. Well, Eris was trying her best to explain it. She just didn't communicate it effectively, you know? Like, it gave off the wrong impression. And that's, I think that's a big thing is, you know, she probably gave off the insane wrong impression where the impression is supposed to be, I will literally, like, I'm giving you this aspect of me. I'm giving you this thing that I wear, you know, my bracelet here, as me saying, hey, I'm coming back to you. And most people would take and be like, wow, he left me. Eris has never been a good best communicator. I know. If only she talked to him. But I mean, this is the same question that I have, like, going forward. And I know we're only like really a frame into this first frame, which is for Rudy specifically. And this is some question that I like. If Rudy was in a counseling session with me, this is a question that I'd ask, and I'd ask you guys the same thing. If the older version of you, say, magically came back, right? The portal fucking ripped open and stepped forward to your past self, what advice do you think you would give him? That's a very interesting concept, like, because you get a lot of people who use it as a coping mechanism, as a way to heal. And it's a powerful, powerful thing to go ahead and ask and throw out there, which is, if your older self, like, were to come through, what advice would they give you? What advice would they give your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self? And it's 101 rotations that we could go into out of a concept like this, because it's a powerful way to envision healing and growth out of a person. And this is what we do through attachment therapy, and even through, like, a humanistic perspective, is use concepts like this of self-heal, of love, of, like, perspectives, and throw these out there to an individual. So this is a perspective that I would use with Rudy, which is, again, if your older self were here, what advice would he give you? Would you take that advice? And what advice would you give your younger self? Not gonna sell the house. Sorry, I wouldn't. And that's why I'm saying this is powerful. This is powerful stuff. Out of the two of them, though, I wonder if this group is genuinely gonna survive, or what comes out of this, or even if these two, if they start to garner feelings out of one another in some way, shape, or form, but there's no actual internal healing done. Could this cause a misinterpretation of situations and things? Hello, Jesus. All right, we're coming through. I like how it doesn't even show his face. I like how his face is literally still shrouded in darkness. And my man is cowering. Is not even cowering, but holding his feet in. I know people might be saying it's because of coldness. Yes, you're right. But remember, every shot is done intentionally. It's not just done to give us the framing of like, oh yeah, he's cold. It's also done to give us a little bit of a glimpse as to psychologically what may be happening for him. And I feel for him, it's just that he's closed himself off. Like literally, any body language expert, any social developmental class in psychology, is gonna go ahead and open that up and say that, okay, you know what? He's quite literally building up like his wall that he has right now, a physical wall, is his legs that he has up to his chest. In comparison, if we take a quick look back, right? I know that they have them as well, but look, she's more open, right? One leg down, one leg up. She does have two, but you can tell that she might have some reservation. She has her arrow right here. And for him, no one else is really like that. It's seated, legs open. One leg up, so she might have some defense mechanisms against him. Or maybe not fully trust him, yet relaxed. And she has both legs up. So I wonder if she has some sort of trauma or something going on in her side as well. So again, my immediate reaction is to go into, okay, what is going on there? Might need to learn some stuff of body language for, yeah, no, it's incredibly impactful. This, 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 this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, reminds me of episode 1. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Wait. Okay, hold on. Siri, they seem sussy. No, not you, Siri. My phone was like, can I help you? This is Sophie, right? Because the ears, the white haired, and then the individual that's introduced later, yeah? Yeah? Okay. Because, like, I know if I, that's a dude. Because my thing is, if that beam had enough power, or wherever, if they were transported and it just broke off an entire fucking wall and sent them there, why did their hair turn from green to white? Could it be due to something of like, I'm trying to think. Like, what can make a person's hair turn from green to white? Is it dye? Does it have something to do with like the transportation method? But then wouldn't other people's hair also turn white or another color? Rudy and Eris, why would Sylphie be there? Age young, age around like it looks like around our last time we saw them. Boku no Hero Academia. I don't know. My mind is going fucking wild at the moment. Also, trauma can change your hair. I mean, trauma can make you lose hair, right? Tails. Like a lot of people don't know this, but like an insane amount of trauma or any form of trauma can actually affect you physically, including losing hair, losing weight, uh, and 100. It can have adverse reactions as well. So I'm like, this. My man is just walking. Before we would hear him, before we would hear Rudy walk around and give us his internal thoughts and whatnot, and at least try and be like, oh wow, I'm gonna do this. This is a Rudy that's changed. This is he's a fun character. Excited for you to see their dynamics. Oh yeah, I'm curious of a false king. This is a Rudy who's now no longer taking chances and he's just doing what needs to be done. This is wild. And a thorny path again, quite literally showing us another wall here. As the camera is panning in, we're getting hit with another wall. I.e., if you get too dangerous, he might hurt you. Or if you get too close, he might hurt you. This is this is spectacular. Like the amount of walls that are being shown here. Like he's hurt. He's an animal. He's an individual that's been hurt, right? And there's this giant wall that he's now built as the camera's panning in. Or cow. reaching out, trying to make friends. He's still at the very back of the group. Probably a confrontation, the dynamics present here. Oh yeah, they're totally gonna try and hook up or something. Rudy and this girl. I mean, look at the dynamics here, man. Look at the dynamics here, right? The dynamics being present, like she's with them, she's like literally socializing. She's half and half. They're moving forward. She's half and half. Probably only cares about her, and she's over here caring about him. Argument happens. So propinquity, a big factor as to why we get along with others. Yaks or calls Jason. And then here, the whole group is sort of accepting, and now she's turned away and sort of the outcast in this moment. Which is why I'm saying it's a reflectionary moment of those first couple of scenes, which for me is showing it like yin and yang. And I don't think this relationship's gonna work because of that. I don't think this relationship's gonna work just simply because of this. It's a reflection as to what's to come. I feel like this might be an introductory, like, hey, join our squad. I don't trust him. He seems weird. Hey, come join us, whatever. Argument happens, and then the thing is flipped. Sort of like a battery. People burn really, really quickly. I got the first reactor. Actually can call the new girl. Actually call that new girl Zenith. Oof. This. This. Him burning the hair. Rudy, I gotta say this. Just because you burn an aspect, right? Also, I've been doing this full screen the whole time. Holy fuck, let me come back to this. Just because you burn an aspect does not mean that you're over that trauma. I know you're probably trying to take that first step, and also how long have you hold on to this right? And that's where my mind is I think it's okay if I have the full screen, right? As long as I'm talking about it. I think so. I think as long as because we're not even like hearing it, we're talking about it. So I think the fact that he's burning this hair is very symbolic, a very symbolic aspect of trying to move on. And I've seen people do this even with notes, like dear dear Masha Tank, I love you dearly, but now I have to burn this note because of the trauma that you've caused me. People, it does help, but it doesn't completely heal. And I hope that this is not him trying to go ahead and do this as a form of trying to hook up with someone because he's not going to be ready. Like, especially if it's like hey, now that I burned this, I'm ready for sexual activity. Because that doesn't work that way. A lot of people seem to try and do this as a quick form of, like, give and release. And it doesn't bode well for those individuals, Would it be better to hold on to it long term? It'd be better to go ahead and put it somewhere where you don't have access to it, Cloud Monkey. Which is like, for example, if you ever have something given to you that you never really had access, like, say that like one of my exes gave me this, right? It would be weird if I carried this bracelet around with me everywhere I go, right? Also, hold on. It would be weird if I carried this bracelet everywhere around with me. It would be. Because all of a sudden, it's like I'm carrying around the memory of her. But if I put this in like a treasure box or a little box and just lock it up with like whatever memories that come along so that when you're older you recognize it or you see it or whatever, not as weird, right? Or whenever you need to go ahead and see where you've come from, not as weird. That was her message that hit her back then. This is interesting. For me, this is intriguing because it's symbolic and it's also him trying to go ahead and move on. Like the reflection here, oh, right here. Hold on, boys. I gotta move my thingies all the way from here. uh okay, good. Hold on, boys. I know this is really, really like this might be like you're going in way too deep, Ed. Pull out. And for that I'll say Ed never pulls out. Okay, that sounds wrong. Uh when it comes to psychological theories, I want to try and go in as deep as I possibly can. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Not like that, cochinos. What is he doing? What is he doing? ladies and gentlemen, what is he doing? He sees these two characters and immediately what we see in this mind is a fear of projection, right? Is a projective move. He might be unacceptable thoughts, feelings, even another individual onto these. And it's a form of displacing as well, right? Or sublimating an obstacle or an object. And this is why I'm scared for him, and I'm scared as to his own sexual health in a way. And so it could be sublimating, it could be displacing as well with projection, which these are the common coping mechanisms that we have. Because say that he were to have sex, right? And this is me saying Rudy's becoming a teenager, and because he's a teenager, sex is a part of the natural teenage life for a lot of people. What does it say here? Satisfying an impulse aggression in a socially acceptable way, and the other one would be satisfying an impulse with a substitute object. So aggression can be seen, or his insecurity and his trauma. He might try to go ahead, instead of actually trying to go ahead and heal from it, he might be trying to use sex as a way to heal. And what would be fucked up, and this is why I'm saying, like, through my studies, through my theories, through my thesis papers even done on this, sexual ramifications and sexual issues are very, very common. So I wonder if insult to injury would be like he might be able to get it hard. I'm just gonna be just straight up with you guys. But then it instantly dies down the moment that he tries to go ahead and like do anything. Or he might, he might literally develop some weird kinks into that. No shaming, no kink shaming here, but it could be something along those lines as well. And he might not even know why. He might not even know what may be happening. Or he might be like doing it and he might be crying because he hasn't healed. So he might just be like, I need to have sex, I need to have sex, I need to have sex. And he might turn into an individual that's where he relies in. But personally, seeing how much trauma sex has caused him, because people like to say that Mushoku Tensei doesn't know what it's doing or glorifies aspects of sex, and I'm gonna say wrong. I will challenge whoever throws that out there and say sex in Mushoku Tensei is used as a form of change in this show, and it's used very masterfully, right? Because I have a feeling that it's gonna take someone from his past to heal him. Someone like Roxy holding him, or Sylphie literally holding him and letting him cry out the trauma that he's gone through for him to be able to move forward. Or someone that he can genuinely connect with, that he's already built the previous relationship with, and not have these walls immediately set up that when he's meeting a new individual. It has to be someone from his past that's able to go ahead and go through with him and be like, it's okay. I love you for who you are. I'm not gonna leave you. You mean the world to me. In order for all these coping mechanisms to go down. It could be Eris as well, but Eris would need to explain herself. Eris would need to go ahead and heal a lot of the trauma that she's done. And I feel like if anything, Eris, in what's already happened, Eris would be the last person that needs to come in any form of healing. This is just me being straight up about it. Like, my boy needs to heal, my boy needs to grow, my boy needs to expand, because he needs to go ahead and, like, he needs to find out what healing means, how he needs to be independent, how sex is more than just, like, developing yourself entirely into one person at that set time, especially if you guys haven't even gotten married or anything, like, my boy needs to develop a lot of these cues. And sadly, this is what happens to a lot of people out there. A lot of people get into a relationship thinking like, hey, this is going to be the one. And then they get cheated on, or they get left, or, their partner may pass away, which was something that my thesis studied on. And guess what? Their sexual life takes a toll, and their psychological and mental and physical health takes a toll because of that. Maybe he'll be thankful for her afterwards. I actually wonder. This is me just being me and asking questions. How will Eris react in like future orientations? I'm gonna throw this out 30 years in the future. Let's say that Eris comes back, or 20 years in the future, Eris comes back, and she's like, "I'm here for you. I'm so glad you." Wait a minute. And what if he has already made a life? What if he already has kids and a family and everything? Would she be okay coming in knowing that she does not take priority? Or would that cause some sort of issue? Or is she going to be okay with it as long as she's with them? I have so many fucking amazing questions. Unless she comes in and, like, turns out Rudy is not into multiple people. He's been waiting for her or something. Yeah. Rudy needs to watch out for Eris's sword. Issues based on what we know now. Well, I mean, even character dynamic issues. We don't even have to go into like, oh, well, it's because Ed knows this. No, I don't know shit. I'm literally just asking because even in therapy, even in sessions like this, when people are gone for too long, there's been, I hate to put it this way, there's been people that they didn't even know that they, you know, they were out and about. They went missing. They came back, and their partner is remarried. And you're like, I thought this was a ride or die type of thing, not a hey, I'm gonna, you know, I'm trying to fight my way back, and you're married to my best friend. Like, oof, 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 oof. You can back your boyfriend in your life because he thought you'd. Oof. Oof! I have not seen Mass Manifest. Oh, okay, we're going. Projection. And even this, right? Because this is sort of what happens. Like, I hate to put it this way, right? What do we get after a breakup? We usually go through the bad, right? The moments that like hurt us the most, and we exemplify the either words being said, or sometimes we can even like use some cognitive. Hold on, I can't believe why am I going so deep with this? I don't fucking know, ladies and gentlemen. This it's just speaking out to me. I hope you guys are okay with it. I hope you guys are genuinely okay with me going this deep and even going deeper. This is what's popping up for me. Guys, our boy Rudeus now has some insane cognitive distortions. Why? Because he might be trying to go out and mind read. He might try and fortune tell. Oh, I can imagine her telling Ghislaine, like, huh, if only he was actually a stronger man. If only he didn't die in front of the dragon god. Oh, you know, or whatever silly things. Because whenever we're hurt people hurt people. And trauma, when it affects us, it makes us fill in blanks. And it makes us make assumptions. And making an assumption makes an ass out of you and me. Because at the end of the day, our boy might be jumping into conclusion. He might be mental filtering, which is he might just be looking at all the negative things that happened or thinking like disqualifying any positive things that happened in the relationship because no, that's not true. We don't even have the show yet. Ilyana, we don't even have the show yet. I know. I know. He might be even placing blame on himself, right? Or on Eris. I can't do this because Eris is not here. This is all Eris's fault because if she wouldn't have left me, I would have been okay. Everything would have been fine. We do. We have Ed the wizard. I'm cracking theories away 5 seconds of the screen time. My bad. No, Eliana, no, don't die. Don't die. I'm fucking hyped. He might be magnifying stuff, right? Which is, and this happens a lot. I'm not going to go ahead and use a real world reference for you guys to understand this. A person runs late to a date, or like a person that you care about who is always on time runs late, and you're like, oh fuck, what if something happened to them? They never run late. What if they got into a car crash and that's why they're late? What if a family member passed away? So on, so forth. Magnification is a very common thing that happens from individuals that have an insecure attachment style and the relation to go through a relationship dissolution, right? They might even start minimizing their own efforts, which is like beforehand his powers might have been insane and people would have been like, oh my god, like, Rudy, you're amazing. But now he's like, whatever, it's not impressive at all. It wasn't impressive enough to keep Eris by my side. Whatever. To blame himself. And this is why it's like when we're looking at cognitive distortions, when we're looking at things like this, it's important to take this and realize, hey, a good, well-written character in any medium should be going through issues, should have some sort of trauma, not even trauma, should have some sort of goal that they're reaching for, or should be working on themselves in some way, shape, or form. And I think this is why Rudy is so relatable to a lot of people. Even for me, I'm looking at Rudy and I'm like, damn, like, I'm not even like, we haven't even touched season 2. I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, I can see where the story might be going, and ooh, this is affecting me, man. This is giving me something to look forward to. This is insane. All right, let's continue. Again, look at this. He does an explosion, a powerful one, something humongous. No one's there. He does it again. There's more people around him, and yet he still might be disqualifying the positive of that. He might still be downplaying himself. He does it. Look, he does it previously. No one's around him. He does it one more time. Everyone's around him, and yet I bet you he still doesn't feel satisfied. he still probably doesn't even feel loved. He still probably feels isolated and as though he can't connect with everyone. And even if they were impressing him, and even if they were there, and that's not Rudy. Oh wait, is that Rudy? Oh shit. I thought that was Rudy. Changing arms. Look at the staff. It's not Rudy. Oh, okay. Fuck. I thought that was Rudy. I was like, hmm. Or it might be just another. Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. I thought that was Rudy. Or maybe it might be what they're used to, right? Which is this individual being a part of this party. Good call. Good call. Good call. In comparison, wait, hold on. In comparison, my boy, boom. This guy, boom. My dude's fucking trolling a meteor itch. Just insane difference. Hold on. You're right. You're right. This wasn't my bad. My dude over here, boom, boom. Like, you know, single-handedly. My dude's just gonna chuck a meteor at you. The other one has to fucking, like, cast it downwards, you know? And then Rudy over here just like, I'm gonna cast a fucking meteor at you. You know what? Fuck it. Zoom. Hey. Aren't these the dragons that Orsted was around? Aren't these the dragons that Orsted was around? Orsted could walk around these with ease. He could probably like handle them with ease. Mabo running. Mabo running. I wonder if we're ever gonna get a resolution to that. Because I don't think Orsted is a bad character at all. I actually think that like he's working through a lot of shit, and there might be a misunderstanding between both of these both of these characters. Just based off of the fact that Orsted even let Rudy heal and let everyone else be there. So going off of this example, I'm sort of wondering if this is just a reflection as to maybe and maybe a callback as to how powerful Orsted was, that like he would indeed have him on the run, you know. Wow, that's insane. That's insane. The more that I'm looking at this and the more that I'm like taking it in, I'm like, I feel like I feel like if Orsted and Rudy were ever to talk it out and ever to actually be adults about shit, they could be like insane. They could be like unstoppable. But seeing the fact that they got to face each other, you took my hole. You created a hole in my body. I got to go after you. But if they were ever to be adults, and actually do something, like come together in some way, shape, or form, I'm curious. I'm so fucking curious, boys. Ooh. Ooh. You made me a donut. I did. Mm. We're going frame by frame. Sorry. I'm trying to go and see if anything pops up here. Looks like a patch and Rudy's robe is gone. Oh, yeah, the breathing exemplified. Where the fuck this guy is? My dude just straight up gives off villain vibes, and we've just even like we just got started. My dude gives off like the most like stereotypical "I'm a villain, I'm gonna fuck you up" type vibes. That like I don't know, dude. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's the girl. Oh no. Oh no. Oh fuck no, dude. No. Oh fuck. Oh fuck no. No, 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 no. No, no. And my dude's probably a big complex of shame probably comes out of this, guys. You guys don't even like imagine this. Imagine like she comes into your room and she's like, "Hey, like let's get it on." You know, she's been there for you. She's been hyped up to be there with you and everything. And you guys get down and dirty, and it just you know, you just won't come up, or you aren't able to actually do anything. and now you're feeling ashamed that this beautiful girl that you've probably grown attached to and formed some sort of conclusion or something with, your beautiful partner or whatever, but you just can't do anything with. Oh no, dude. Oh, my heart is sinking because concepts of shame. Wow, wow. Just be right back. Getting some milk, Rudy. Never comes back in. So a floppy disk. Well, here's the thing: erectile dysfunction (ED) is very, very. A lot of guys don't like to talk about it, but it's very prevalent on guys. Hyposexualization, right, in gentlemen, in guys. You guys can look this up. There's hundreds of psychological studies out there. After a relationship dissolution, especially like very, very serious one to the core, I think the rate of ED or any form of erectile dysfunction is stupidly high. Yeah, like we're talking about like a lot of guys don't like to talk about it, but like for example, I hate to go ahead and use this and talk about it here, guys. If you have a hard time coming, I'm gonna be, and I hate to talk about it in a show like this. If you have a hard time coming, that might be because of trauma. See, you might love the partner that you're with currently and all of that stuff, and you guys might be going at it, and you're like, this feels great, and I always feel like I'm getting close, but I can't get there. That might be because of trauma. That might be because of unlayered trauma. Yeah. You don't catch this frame very often. I'm looking at this, man, and this hurts because it, like, for me, it just shows that, like, as a person, if you were her, how would you feel? How would you feel? Tails, I'd feel humiliated. Like, how else can you take that? I didn't expect it. Well, there you go, Arlen. You learn shit when you come here, boys. If we were, if I was her, I'd be honest. I'd feel like maybe I'm not good enough. Wow, I couldn't even turn him on. Like, I've been there for him. I'm trying. I'm trying to go and like, do everything I can for him, and he just doesn't. Wow, am I not like self-esteem issues might come up, and maybe even looking at him weird. There might be judgments and all of these things that could. Therapy can help heal. Absolutely, Screevy King. Therapy, a good psychologist, a good therapist, a good sexologist should be able to go and help with the healing process of that. And the shame that comes with it is insane because all of a sudden, like my thing is, how will Rudy even react in the future? And say that there's other people out there, right? Say that he meets some cute like individuals, some cute girls out there, and like people just like I'm gonna over exaggerate, right? Like let's say that he all of a sudden people just start following him. They're like Rudy, like all these people are after you. You have this slime girl, this cat girl, this like snake girl, this dog girl, and they're all in heat. Rudy, which one are you gonna take? But Rudy can't even acknowledge it because there's shame. Because there's aspects of shame. And this is just me throwing a fucking wild scenario out there. At the end of the day, I know Rudy Chan, ooh, will your Discord eat girl kitten is here, some stupid shit like that. He wouldn't be able to acknowledge that because shame is so centered and it would become a core schema of it, right? Which all of a sudden, this core schema that he has is now like everything that revolves around sex is shame. And the trauma that he has with the cognitive distortions that we've talked about, I deserve them because I couldn't keep Eris by my side. And this is why I'm saying the more that we go into this, the more that I'm like, he needs either therapy or he needs someone from his past to wake him up, to help him heal. He needs someone that can genuinely be there and heal him and like allow himself to be open, allow himself to heal, allow himself to do everything. The only thing that I would suggest is like, dude, make sure that you're doing it safely because a lot of people during this healing process don't know what is appropriate and inappropriate emotions, and sometimes they just lash out and cry and, do everything. Geese as a therapist, I know. And even, yeah, and especially during sex, people need to talk to each other like all the time. But during like any form of sexual activity, you should be talking to your partner. You should be saying, "Hey, can you do this more? Hey, maybe chill out on this. Maybe do faster, slower, so on and so forth." You should be talking to your partner about it. Yeah, we need geese. Anyway, this is, oh man, my heart literally break. Now, boys, I feel like I could. Boys, listen to my proposal here, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to my proposal here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, yo, I know I gotta bite my lip here. This is my proposal here, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I could show Eleni some things here, you know. But I just feel like I might get the life sucked out of me. Might not be able to walk for the next couple of weeks. Elenice is a predator. Oh no! Oh, I think she deserves this hat. Let's go ahead and pass it over. I feel like I might learn some things in the process. Worth it. Oh god. Oh god. I actually wonder about her backstory. I'm not gonna lie. I do wonder about her backstory a lot. I wonder why she like, especially knowing and seeing how sex is used as a form of change. And this is another. This is actually a mind crawl that I'm currently working on, which is how sex is used as a form of change in Mushoku Tensei, and specifically targeting and shooting down why Rudeus' story is not ill. He's a like, he's a pedo, but like Rudeus is a story about change. Rudeus' story so far has been a story about change and how sex is used as a form of change, not just in Mushoku Tensei, but in real life. And that's what my next mind crawl is going to be on when it comes to Mushoku Tensei. So I'm wondering specifically for her why her aspect of change is very open in terms of that case, right? So I think that there might be a lot more to this backstory and a lot more trauma at play here than what is being like shown. T, what's up? How you doing, T? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're practicing that self care. Please don't confirm or deny anything. As I said, I don't fucking know. I'm just going off of like my own thoughts, my own patterns, and I'm literally laying everything out there so you guys have a good knowledge information as to what may be happening. The team is surrounded by bears here. Mecha bears. Oh no, just regular bears. Sorry, I took the guy's armor in the background as like a mecha thing. Okay. Rudy jumping in. All right. Who is she? What a cutie! Oh my god. What's her backstory? Ah! Wait a second. This reminds me of Rudy when he does the water ball thing. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It says the agents have changed their hands. Ed says it's sex. I'm not saying. Actually, no, Masha Tank. I always say an agent of change can be anything. It does not have to be your hands. First off, when people say that, like, people often relate it to that in media, but an agent of change can be almost anything. Go practice some self care, T. I appreciate you. An agent of change can literally be like your contact lenses, right? Say that like you always used to wear contact changes whenever you had a partner, um, and they passed away, and you've been traumatized or whatever, and then you start dating someone and whatnot, and then like you start feeling better, and you're like, I'm not sure if I fully healed, and all of a sudden you take a glance at your contact lenses and you put on your glasses, or you put on your contact lenses once again, and that could be used as an agent of change as well. You guys see how like, as a therapist and as a psychologist, I'm not just going to dictate what an agent of change is for you. I will ask you though, what changes impacted you, or what like pivotal moments in your life can you think about that have completely changed your life? For Rudy, magic is one. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She looks so tiny. Flawless logic. But anyways, I'm actually kind of wondering what she's doing and where she come from. What up, big brain? Too cute, too cute. I fucking swear, I swear, fucking too cute, man. That's it. Wait, no, 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 no. I was skipping the wrong way. Hold on, boys. I was skipping the wrong way. I was skipping the wrong way. I was like, and that's it? Yeah, like, wait a minute. Arrow comes out. Him crying though. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm missing a lot of frames, brother. Is he crying into the panties? Yeah, he's crying into the panties. I thought it was at least. Oh no! I thought it was. I thought he was crying into like a. Wow. Wow. It's the holy relic. Excuse you, it's the holy relic. I know, but you want me to be straight up with you? I feel like this is a kid crying for salvation. This to me reminds me a lot of like a kid crying for this person to come and save them. A kid crying for this for them to be there for them. A kid crying for like you know, even holding on and holding. It's a very religious way. He's praying for salvation, yeah. Roxy, where are you? Roxy, can you be here? Roxy, can you save me from what I'm going through? It's his boo boo. It's a forbidden handkerchief. I am also scared for Roxy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys because Roxy has been turned into this weird power dynamic where I don't want her to accidentally abuse her power that's set up. And I know she's a kind spirit and whatnot, but our boy right now can he might anxiously attach to people in the future, and I don't want him. Like if Roxy comes through, seeing the way that he's holding on and he's crying into the holy relic. What if one day Roxy were to sleep with him? What would happen? That's where I'm afraid. I'm afraid that Rudy and her might just like anxiously attach in some way, shape, or form if something like that were to happen. Mythology. Anyway, sorry guys. And unless she finds a partner, in which case, cool. Holding on to, yeah, the trauma that he experienced, right? Sonic Dash. Interesting Cloud. Man, he's savage. He's savage and quick. Eyes of bewilderment. Holding on to someone's hand. Oh, oh, Greek mythology has a lot of relationships between mortals and gods. Eminence in the shadow. Yeah, we just saw it, dude. It's so good. People clanking together, maybe even praising the group or praising him and him. Aw. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I hope this is after the bear fight and not like after the whole shame thing and her just being like, I'm gonna go my own way. Oof. 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 I hope this is after the bear fight and not necessarily after like her just leaving him in the end and then wanting to have a conversation being like, Rudy, I love you, but I must go my own way. You clearly still have feelings for somebody else. I hope it's the bear fight, yeah. Oh, best boy! Best boy! Best boy is here. Let's go. And still, your master, your Shisho. Trauma is stored in the body. Whoever this guy is. Now, hold on, boys. Don't judge me too hard. Don't judge me too hard on this one. Don't judge me too hard, ladies and gentlemen. Don't judge me too hard, ladies and gentlemen. Don't judge me too hard, ladies and gentlemen. Don't judge. Okay. Um, are they from the village? I don't know why. Are they from the village? Ladies and gentlemen, are they from the village? I'm just impressed, honestly. Wait, whitetails? Yes, but not the same little girls. Oh, I thought it was. I thought there was one of the girls that were in the village. I was about to be like, ooh, but also, damn, you know why. And then we jump into this shot. Much older Rudy here than the Rudy that's shown. Rudy has a ponytail, much older. Rudy's starting to look a lot like Paul. Wait a minute. Yeah, Rudy is starting to look a lot like Paul. Who is this man? I feel like I'm about to go into Mortal Kombat with him just for him to be like, I acknowledge your strength. You are wonderful. I've come to battle for every girl in this town. All the women are mine. It's World's End Harem 2020. Or something silly. Is it something silly? I'm about to be in this gym. Like my dude about to come in here and be like, Mortal Kombat. Selfie versus me. Fight. Hold on, there we go. You know about Worlds in Harem? Of course I know about Worlds in Harem. You guys have told me to watch Worlds in Harem. It's Mortal Kombat style here. No, but I get the feeling. You know who he reminds me of? Just the hairstyle of the Demon Lord. Like he reminds me of her. He reminds me of her. I'm not even gonna lie. Like just straight up about it. He straight up reminds me of her. He- Purple hair. Yeah, the purple hair. Oh, they might be a part of the same race or something, but like I'm like, he reminds me of Thorkel. I never thought I would say this, but maybe ape. Maybe ape girls aren't my thing. I think I just discovered a boundary for me. Monkey, monkey, Winton, Winton girl. I mean, it just might not be for me. Like antler girl on the side, pretty cute, right? Pretty cute. Oh, go, 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 go. Don't watch Fruit of Evolution. Wait, why? The predator fight. There's like a fox girl on the side. There's another cat girl here, and then we have like okay, Geese's peak at sexual attraction. Okay, guys, you guys can't tell me that this is not Sylphie. This is straight up Sylphie. Like, look at her design. I know we've gone over it like hundreds of times before, but this is straight up Sylphie. Y'all can't even fucking. Mm, mm. Their hair design, brother. The hell. Fuck you guys. No, no, no. I only see fits. You guys are such kings at gaslighting. I can't even. Hold on. This is why we do deep analysis here and actually take the time to like follow through and see what's happening because clearly Selfie. Y'all are trying to fucking gaslight me here, and it ain't even funny. Why is my browser not letting me pull up pictures of Sophie? Trying to pull up a picture of Sophie. Please, please. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Fuck you, chat. Here we go. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. You guys ready? You guys ready? You guys ready, boys? You guys ready? You guys ready? Bah! There we go. Hairstyle. The little hair flick. It's Sylphie. This is Sylphie, boys. Fuck you guys. Just looking at this. Just looking at this. Looking at the two little bruh. Why is her hair white though? That is a real question. That is a real question, ladies and gentlemen. That I do not know. That I do not know. Could be a relative. Actually, true. Could be a relative. Wizard was not available. Thanks so much. I only see fits. Copium Lord. You mean I can't get a haircut in your stuff? I mean, it could be a cousin, but then that would be weird narratively. That would really be weird, like through a story perspective. Introduce characters, someone so young that was like in her arms and with a big hole in the wall, probably. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all, I feel like y'all are trying to gaslight me in so many ways. Could it? It could be family. Hold on. That could technically work. That could technically work. You could technically say all like that's a family member and some stupid shit like that. What you think she just dyed her hair or something? It could be an evil twin. Anyway, but I need to see her eyes. But yet, okay, they're straight up drawing Rudy here. The green that thing, okay, the green little thing that they're wearing, I don't know, boys. I don't know. I feel like y'all are just fucking gaslighting me so much. Roxy's family all look like true. It could be a family or someone along that line. I guess we're going into spring and stuff is blooming. We're starting to feel more actions, more healing that being done. Big fireball, big glaze, and then the title. I am fucking thrilled. Hi, hi, what's up? How you doing, Kyles? How you doing? Oh, ¿Cómo estás? I hope you're doing well. Guys, make sure to show some love to Kyles because they did fucking amazing in the dating game. I can't even say it enough. I just genuinely appreciate the little living heck out of them. Vengo por los análisis en YouTube, pero haces directos tarde, más que me voy a dormir. Que mañana. Oh, buenas noches, Art. I hope you're doing well. I'm just excited, guys. I can't state that enough. Looking at this trailer, looking at everything that it's gone over, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack. Guys, I am not a predictor. I don't know what the fuck is to come at all. All I'm grounding this is quite literally on the references, the symbolism, the metaphor, the psychological importance of this. Once again, I am a psychologist. My main thinking pattern is how does this affect behavior and the mind? Not I don't really care about predictions. For example, I'm not gonna watch something and then make a prediction on like what came out of like that show, because at the end of the day, hindsight is 2020. It's a lot better to stop and talk about it. However, again, we're talking about a person's mental health, their habits, and their mind. What is going on in their mind? SP, brother. Hey. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to see which one's better. That looks better. Let me take this off. There we go. SB's here with us. How you doing, SB? I hope you're doing well.
The Riz Master has returned.
I know, the Riz Master has returned. How are you though? By the way, you Riz King, dude, you won all of our hearts, like time after time.
Oh, that was a hell of a ride for sure. I mean, it's still funny because I woke up, I just jump on the stream, and I'm like, oh, they look like they're having fun.
Did you have fun though?
Oh, always, it's always fun to me.
I'm like blown away, man. I'm absolutely blown away because you came in here, you didn't know what was happening, and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and like Riz it up with everyone, like win or lose, it's fine. The Riz King, yeah. Now you have a name. Now you have a name in our server.
Yeah, on your Discord, it's like Riz Master now. So
you know what? I'm gonna have the mods officially give you that role, make a role specifically for the Riz Master, and just throw it at you. So
I came just in time as well because you just finished the trailer analysis. So I'll ask a couple of questions.
I was gonna say that was perfectly timed. You know, like a minute trailer ended up being like an hour worth of analysis, an hour plus worth of analysis. So good stuff.
That's good stuff.
So I'll answer your questions first because I have some questions for you too. So what came up for you while watching this trailer?
So I did see some people see a particular scene with Eris and they thought, oh, that's Eris, like actually in the story. That was Rudy. Well, this is just me pointing at Captain Obvious. That was Rudy projecting his thoughts of insecurity on others. Because you could see that split scene where he's got like those two people there, they were about to walk away, and then he sees Eris and Ghislaine, and I saw a bunch of comments like, "Oh my god, Eris, that's Eris. She's." I'm like, no, not to say if she is or isn't, but that's a projection of his fear of insecurity, being like, "Hey, these people are clearly going to leave me like them. Why get close?" So
right,
that was a scene that kind of really hit hard, and I think what I liked about that is that it's actually showing the insecurity. So of course you're going to get Rudy monologuing and moaning and groaning, and I mean you can see the facial expressions even in the trailer with the brooding. I'm liking the fact that the trailer is showing that he's visualizing the insecurity as well.
I fucking love you because I can't. Like that's exactly what I brought up. I'm like, this is a coping mechanism known as projection. When you're in deep rooted trauma, you project aspects of people onto others, and it's rooted out of insecurity and out of sexual trauma sometimes that come out of it. Like I love the fact that you brought this up because immediately I was like, no, this is not like Eris is there. This is a projection that has come out because of his like the insecurities, the trauma that may have happened.
Yeah, and I really like that, especially like in the poster you see sort of the it's like monotone face is just like moo. So that's very much prevalent in that trailer, that he's very much gloomy, looking down, and then straight away he's projecting on others. He's like, they're gonna do the same that what Eris did to me. Eris left me. How dare she? She clearly hates me. Others are gonna hate me for the same reason. So very much you can see that insecurity straight away in that trailer. And that's not a spoiler, that's just obvious right away. You can see those emotional scars deep in him right away in the trailer, which is really good. Really good. I'm happy that they put that nice detail in there to really show and highlight how it's haunted him.
Is it weird for me, and I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but I kind of don't want Eris to be back this season. Because I feel like it would be too soon for him to actually heal. This is just me throwing it out there. This is me as like it's like a really bad breakup with your like a girlfriend, you know, and if they come back too quickly, have you really changed? Or are you like you'll fall back into habits? I'm sorry, this is me just throwing that out there. I'm like, I feel like it would be too soon.
All I will say, because I've been practicing for the last night, 12 hours, practicing in my head how I'm going to approach this, because I'm like, oh, I've got to put a leash on myself for my excitement and light novel knowledge. All I will say is that at the end of season 1, she's gone on her journey, he's gone on his journey. When and if they decide to meet again,
Sure.
will be in some time, clearly, because she's decided to go on a long and epic journey. And I mean, that's obvious because that's what she's decided at the end of season 1. She's cut her hair. She's gone off with Gisland. That's going to be a big epic journey for her. Rudy clearly is going to go on his own path. And I mean, clearly he's going into an academy because I mean, that's in the trailer. So
right.
No one picked up on that. He's gone to an academy with a bunch of students. And the only thing I picked up at the end of your stream was people were like, oh, you missed Cliff. You missed the Riz Master. He is the Riz Master.
I missed. The Riz. So you are now officially Cliff, the Riz Master.
You know what? I will actually take that, and you will understand. I'm not going to say why. You will understand in season 2 why I am Cliff in real life.
Oh. I hope Cliff
doesn't. That's a fun non-trailer or non-spoiler tease, because that will make you think so hard. You'll be like,
see, people in my chat are like, being called Cliff is a badge of honor.
Yeah,
Cliff for charisma.
See? Chat knows.
I'm excited, man. You have me so fucking hyped now. But there's, you see, this is why I love like every single time that we chat, because we're like always questioning one another. And for me, I feel like I'm like asking the questions to try and get you to like open up that seal that you've placed on your mouth, where you're like, I've been practicing all day to not spoil, and I'm like, like I'm trying to pry it open. So my thing is, I'm just like slowly working my way through the trailer with you. 6 seconds in, this is something that stands out to me, right? And I hope you're okay with me just like bringing it up, like little instances that I found really interesting.
Oh, that's perfectly fine because it makes it easier for me. I'm going to try and find the trailer on YouTube again.
Sure.
I'm on that's Eminence in the Shadow, which I'm super excited about.
Dude, yeah, pumped. I wonder if SB can help Ed understand why Sylphie and Fitz are completely different characters without spoiling anything. I have my working theory that they're the same fucking character, because looks-wise, I pulled up an image of young Sylphie, and you look at the hair and look at the traits, and it is quite literally Fitz. Like, except with like Fitz has white hair and Sylphie has green hair, and they're saying Fitz is a boy, which
Fitz is best boy. That's just a fact.
That smile.
Chad agrees with me. Fitz is best boy.
I love the deflection. That smile, though. That was like the most amazing little like crawling smile that I've seen.
See, I've got a video planned for next season.
I
had a debate with Natalie about it last night. We are completely in different agreements on the topic, but we're also in different agreements that I'm not going. She believes I'm not going to get cancelled. I believe I'm going to get cancelled.
Whoa. It's one of those. Okay, damn.
I shouldn't get cancelled for it, but I'm going to get cancelled for it. And I think you brought it up for a brief second there. Rudy being bi.
You know, I think if someone meets his emotional needs, and I think there's been hints at it, that yeah. I don't think you'd be canceled. I'm gonna be straight up with it. However, I do think you might get some flack for it. I'm not gonna lie to you about that, because you already know there's people in the community that are gonna jump in and be like, "How could you? I project myself onto this character," and so on and so forth.
I mean, in the trailer, because I'm kind of sifting through it now,
Uh-huh.
there's some parts in there. Of course, you see Sylphia Fitz.
I see who? Sophie, let's go. Let's go.
How the fuck did I just get unfoiled? I'm sorry, chat. I failed you. I really failed you. It's really, really hard to say the two.
But anyway.
All right, let's just be real on this chat. He called it ages ago, and I mean it is pretty obvious. Okay.
I'm crying. That was wonderful.
Fitz's best boy.
Fitz's best boy. I will go with that. Fitz's best boy.
There's a really cute scene where Fitz is drawing on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbass me said the wrong word. And you can, I mean, yeah. So clearly Fitz has some deep connection to Rudy. The fact that straight away you see in the trailer they kind of look at each other. Fitz has this sort of almost like doting look on him, and the way he's just kind of I practiced for 12 hours to do this, and straight away I keep saying okay. There's a specific scene which I really like, which is the part where Fitz is drawing on the piece of paper, and they're drawing this like little cute little face and everything. So there's some chemistry between them, and so that's the thing that I think people will enjoy the most, is that even in that trailer you see those little moments where Rudy is building new connections, making new friends. He's going to struggle with it because of his fear of what's happened with Eris and Ghislaine. How some of those relationships go, that's really going to depend on the story and some of the ups and downs. But you can clearly tell there's a connection between this new character, Best Boy Fitz, who is totally not Sylphia. It's just coincidence.
Right.
And yeah, and that academy is going to be that connection between them, because Rudy's going to the academy. He's going to learn some new magic. Don't know what he's going to learn. And clearly he's not going to be going alone, possibly, maybe. Who knows?
So, as I was about to say, I did see the academy setting and how it's all like coming up from there, and that cute cat and like dog girl that they showed in there, where I was like, oh, wait a minute, are we getting a bunch of demi-humans in here? Like, hey, yo.
Yes. There's, looking at that particular scene, because the two demi-humans, do you notice anything about them at all?
Well, I said, for me, I was instantly reminded of the village where Rudy was at, but let me see. Anything about them at all?
Anything in particular stands out?
Well, no, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. What should I be looking at, SB?
I mean, just look at them. Do they remind you of anything?
Do they remind me of anything? Ghislaine? Or man, my mind's going a little wild here. Because instantly I'm like, I see that chicken and I'm like, I wish I was that chicken. But no, aside from that, are we talking about just the scene of the two characters, or the entire like monkey
Just
girl?
the two girls. Just the two girls.
Yeah, no, nothing really comes to mind aside from the girls from the village.
Particular girls from the village?
Which one?
Any particular girls from the village?
Wait, hold on, because now you're hitting on something that I kept.
I'm just staring at you through the camera, Ed.
I feel it. You're like, really? It hasn't seen past the anime. Yeah, please, guys, don't spoil. I have not seen past the anime. I literally have.
My objective is not to spoil it for him, because I want him to enjoy it to its fullest. It's just that one was. I mean, let's be honest, he fucking knew anyway.
I was gonna say, I literally have like, I got volume 4 or novel 4 in today on stream while watching the trailer. That's how you guys know, like, I'm barely doing everything. But yes, my big
But
thing.
I mean, with this trailer, it hints at a lot of little things, but the thing with Mushoku Tensei, and it's one thing that the light novel does so well, is that there are always strings that are attached to other parts of the story, even in ways you don't realize. Like there's parts of the journeys as Rudy goes through, he does one thing, he meets these people, he goes and does other stuff, he meets other people, and there's always little subtle connections throughout the story. How they are connected, it's always different, but there's always little things, little ways that there are strings connected between different characters. And that's one thing I love about the author, is that the world feels very large, but also very small at the same time.
I have a question for you. And of course, you can choose to say no or say yes. I'm excited for whenever Nat comes on for one of these, and we have, like, everyone on board for our conversations. Um, Specifically looking at all the demi-humans that we see here, and this might be just something out of complete left field. You can be like, I don't fucking know. Do demi-humans follow a human cycle of sexuality, or do they follow an animal cycle of sexuality? I.e., you know how a lot of dogs, cats, animals out there go through, like, insane breeding periods, like hypersexualization periods for them, the same way some humans do, like during pregnancy, after pregnancies, before, so on and so forth. Like,
I'm not sure if I should answer it, but you are asking the right question.
oh, oh, oh. Mushoku Tensei
I
thought
mean,
ahead.
saying it like that, you probably have the answer, but I would say you are asking the correct question.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
And I won't say anything, but I will say the answer to that does have a repercussion to the story in ways. Funny and serious.
Ed, what do you want to hint at? My main thing is, if characters, especially if you're in an environment like this, right? Say that a breeding period comes. A heat period comes. I'm gonna put it this way. Wouldn't it be insanely dangerous for them to be out and about in a scenario like this, right? Because this is what I'm thinking. I'm putting myself in their shoes, and this is something that I'm like, okay, how do you react in a scenario like this? Are you okay with it? Um, and would they see that as a punishment? This is the vice versa if you don't give in to their desires. Because we have Rudy, who's kind of broken, right? And I'm sort of like, this is me just like projecting, fantasizing, throwing shit out there. You have individuals who are like in extreme breed heat mode, right? And what
Well,
happens?
here's a question, Ed. How are
Sure.
these two characters clearly that are going to be prevalent in the story? They're probably going to bump into Rudy at some point. How are they going
Right.
to respond to Rudy? I mean, in his past interactions with these people, they kind of sniffed at him and didn't like him, but he's dead inside now. There's nothing coming up. How are they going to respond?
I have another question for you out of what you just said now. What what comes out of a situation like this? Because clearly, I can kind of see them being like bullies. I'm not gonna lie to you, just off of the information that you've given me. Like, if they're like, in a sense, and let's make this assumption: Rudy comes in here, he's dead, like dead-eyed, dead everything, right? He really doesn't want to interact with others. What does that allow? That allows for people to start bullying you, right? Because people like defenseless individuals or others around.
I think that is a very interesting question. I mean, obviously, Rudy is going to struggle to communicate with people, and with struggling to communicate with people, that is going to lead to a sign of weakness, and some people are going to utilize that sign of weakness to their advantage. But it depends on, do people fully take advantage of that, or are some people just going to be a bit more sort of rough around with him, try to help him out a little bit, or is Rudy also going to struggle to understand things more now because he's having that challenge of communicating. He's brooding, he's mentally occupied, so is he going to misinterpret things, read things incorrectly, react too negatively to certain situations, maybe too positively? I think mentally, just from analyzing an emotional wreck as he is going to be difficult to deal with, but how that interaction is going to be is going to depend on each individual and whether they take advantage of that or not. That's the real question in it.
Well,
I think we're definitely going to see some very interesting interactions.
my thing, and I'll go ahead and jump in here with this, because our boy is clearly traumatized. He's gone through quite a bit, right? But he's no longer that same boy who would cower at the fear of bullies. I think he would just allow it to happen and not really care until it goes too far, right? But there's a difference between sexual trauma and then like PTSD, right? PTSD, when someone's triggered, they can take action. And this is something that I'm curious about. If these girls push the trigger too far and he takes action and just completely and utterly leaves them defenseless, or like they can't do anything about it, can they create a paratactic distortion on him? Because I'm pretty sure no one else will probably ever challenge. Like when a bully gets owned, a lot of times those bullies are like, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I didn't see you in that light. Oh, I didn't think you were like that. Oh, you were a cool dude." Like all of a sudden things change because of the paratactic distortion framed here. So I'm like, where is this show? Where are you taking me through, SB? This is your line of questioning is taking me through a journey here.
See, I got to think carefully because I'm going to make sure I don't make the same mistakes. Fitz is best boy. I don't know what you're talking about. I just mixed two people up. It was a dual identity.
Right.
Fitz is Batman.
Yes.
Clearly, we're going to college or going to uni.
Mhm.
He's going to be meeting a variety of different people. Some higher ups, some lower, some bottom of the barrel, some possibly delinquents. How he interacts with them, who he befriends, how he befriends them is, I think, is going to be the journey that I think will most be fun and interesting for you. I mean, it's clearly he's going to make new friends. Whether they go successful or not, that's the true question.
Wait, hang on. Everything that you're stating right now, like you're literally giving me a brain blast. What is the opening lines to the entire show? Like, guys, I'm sorry, we're diving in deep with this because now my mind's tingling here. All right.
I mean, I assume you did pick up on I forgot his name, but I just call him Cyclops sometimes. The big fella with the glasses that was in season 1 that Rudy made friends with. He's in the trailer.
Uh-huh.
The figure enthusiast. So I mean, you can see on that part there he's like introducing Rudy. So Rudy's gonna make some easy friends right there. But where that goes from, that's the question. I mean, Cliff's in it, so what interaction is going to be between them? Because remember, from the OVA, Eris kind of really talked up Rudy quite a lot in that OVA, and Cliff wasn't particularly happy that his crush that he fell in love with head over heels. That's right, Xanaba, sorry. Cliff probably has a bone to pick with Rudy. Where that goes, is that a true epic rivalry between two wizards, or something else happens?
So I just want to point out something. The show starts off because for me, you literally hit something in me. The show literally starts off with him dying. Are you okay? Can you hear me? Huh? Unidentified male appears to be in his mid-30s. You know, he's dying, essentially. Something that I noticed in this trailer, in this trailer, and some of the like, just the way that the scenes are shown, it's like the recounting of a tale, in a way. So I'm often wondering, and I don't know how to phrase this. My mind is going like a million miles per hour. But anyway, sorry, I'll leave that there. My mind is literally like fried. Like I just remember that, and then I was like, wait a minute, what is the beginning, the opening to this? How does this link to this? SB, where are you taking? Yeah, hold on. Sorry. Anyway, yes, the two wizards, Zenoba, right? Zenoba and our good friend Rudy. My big thing is I think they'll get along. I think they'll get along because of the relationship that they had built previously is already set, right? I.e., SB, doesn't matter where the fuck I meet you, man. We can be out in the middle of Japan, right? In like a weird like store, like we're going to Hogwarts University now in Japan for some reason. Guess what? I'm gonna be like, brother, Rizlord. I'm gonna straight up go up to you and hug you because you're still that Rizlord, no matter what may have happened that may have led to that. So I feel like Sonova already, yeah.
So what do you think about Elise? Because she's in the trailer. She's definitely on a journey with Rudy. In the first trailer, she was in the trailer as well for that. What do you think is going to involve her journey?
I think, well, first off, I think there's a lot in her backstory that we don't know yet, right? And I think that that's something, and I mentioned this, which is it's sex in Mushoku Tensei is so important, and people like to go ahead and shoot this show down as like, oh, this show's a like pervert's best stream, all of these things, and it's like, no. Sex in this show so far as a season one has been used as an agent of change. If we look at it, concepts of sex have introduced different characters, have introduced different thought patterns. And my thing is for her, hypersexualization, it's kind of like a curse for a lot of people. People that are sex addicts are like, for a lot of them, you ask them, do you like to be in this environment? They're like, no, it's like a giant curse. It's like, I feel as though always being hypersexual while they enjoy the act of sex, being like, sex becoming an addiction can be a lot and it can take a toll on every day.
So, question to that then: do you think she could ever settle down? Find a single man, be with, be happy, or is that always going to be a continuous, endless journey of needing to fulfill that curse?
I think she can, but it takes a lot of personal healing or your own goals being met in some way, shape, or form. For a lot of people, like with gambling and stuff like that, right? Like you have to meet your own intrinsic goals and not just like hitting the next big like uh jackpot or whatever. Because a lot of people that's what they live off of is the thrill for the next jackpot. But there's a difference between, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out because people are always like, well, we're talking about sex in general, but there, and this is why I'm going through this. There's a difference between me being like, here, SV, I'm gonna give you $2,000, go to the casino, uh, go gamble. All right, wow, you didn't win. Here's 2,000 more dollars. Go gamble. 2,000 more dollars, more gamble. Versus SB wanting to do this by himself, and this is a question that I have because it feels as though in season one, whenever we see her go through like sexual actions, it feels more like, how would I put it? Someone that's bringing people into sex rather than someone who's going into sex, which is very different. I don't even know how else to explain it. In sexology, there's a concept quite literally known as like, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for others? And this goes for pretty much anything. Like if you have trauma, or if you're a people pleaser or anything like that, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for others?
I get what you mean because she's seeking it out rather than it kind of all coming to her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like she's going out there looking for it, then taking them back to her place, then doing it, and then moving on to the next group and the next group. She's never really getting too connected to build that connection so that it never leads into anything truly commitment wise. But then
Right.
that comes down to the counter question: will that cycle ever break?
Hopefully. A good therapist. A good therapist can help out.
Good therapist or a good priest, maybe. Maybe she needs to confess her sins, maybe. Who knows?
True. With that, I do want to ask you one thing, which is this is something that I talked about in this trailer, which is reflecting back in that first little opening segment, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Reminds me of when I was like younger and I've gone through a breakup, and I'm pretty sure a majority of people that have gone through relationship stuff. And I mentioned this on stream when we were going through it, but it's like if older you came through at that point in time, if you that are currently right now, however old you are, went back to your first major breakup, what advice would you give yourself? And this is something that I was asking myself. Like, if Rudy could like see his older self and like give each other advice, what advice would be like important for him to get to heal?
That's an interesting question. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Rudy is difficult to communicate with at points when it comes to things that are a little bit deeper. But I feel like if he could go back and communicate with himself, I feel like he'd be pretty try and sort of point out, like, I mean, if it's like a time travel, go back and tell him how to fix his mistakes, he would be more direct to being like, hey, you need to sort of maybe go this path to kind of finding something that will help resolve that fractured heart. While if it was something a little bit more like he couldn't do that and it was like basic advice, I feel like it would be, yeah, building new connections, trying to make new friends, and then from there find that missing part to his heart, I think. But I do feel like one of the biggest issues with a breakup is trying to fill that void too quickly, and it ended up not being, it's like putting a square into a circle. It ends up not being the right fit, and it ends up doing more harm than good because you're trying to quickly fill something into it that's not quite right because you're yearning that companionship. And I see that a lot in relationships in general, that when someone goes out there and they've had a really bad breakup and they're really hurting, they try and find anything to jam into that spot, which then leads to the counter question: do you think Rudy will do that?
Well, I mean, I was about to say, considering I think that what I talked about a long time ago has come true, which is him potentially having some sort of erectile dysfunction or some sort of dysfunction with his own physical health. I think he, as much as, because, and I mentioned this on stream a little bit ago, trauma in relationships can, like, in erectile dysfunction doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you can't get yourself hard. It can be something as, hey, I am on the verge of coming, and all of a sudden it goes away, and you're like, wait a minute, why did it go away? I was right there. And it's good, like reoccurring systems like that. It's called trauma brain, right? And the more that it happens, the more that you start noticing, hey, your partner might get a little angry at you. There might be concepts of shame. There might be other things out there. So you might have Rudy, and this is sort of the big aspect in this, trying to fill that void up with anything that he can, while at the same time keeping his walls up. Because I think it's scary to let people in, and I honestly, this is why. And you don't have to spoil me if this is or isn't true. This is why I don't want Eris to be back this season, because Eris has caused this damage. Rudy needs to heal. Rudy has all these walls up, and it's shown time and time again in this trailer, where like physical means literally holding onto his legs and creating that wall, bringing up walls of stone around like the animals that he killed, so on and so forth. He has a lot of walls up. The only people that can get into those walls are people from his past, or people that he genuinely has already let in before. So I'm thinking Roxy, Sylphie, or someone that can generally break those walls down. But Eris, no. If Eris were to approach, I feel like he would just fall back into the same old habits and he wouldn't heal. Your face. SV, no.
I'm being good, chat. Give me a bone here. Um, I actually don't know 100% if Eris will be in season 2 or not.
Uh-huh.
Not 100% sure because of just how the light novels are structured. So I don't actually have a definitive answer. I've had some people tell me yes, some people say no. It just depends on how the story is adapted. But right now in the trailer, you can clearly see this is Rudy's journey. He's a lone wolf. He's going on his own, and he's building new connections. Whether they're successful or not, well, that's the real part of the journey. And clearly, he's going to bump into a couple of old colleagues, new colleagues that we've seen that he hasn't seen. And I mean, I'm not sure how good your memory is from season 1. Do you remember seeing the blonde hair girl from season 1?
At the end of season 1, if I remember
Well,
correctly.
she wasn't really at the end, but she was in a couple of snippets.
Because if I remember, they introduced Fitz in one of the snippets.
Yes.
beside her, yeah.
Riv her
Yeah.
and him, because they were all in it. It was the scene with Eris's father. I think it's father.
Uh-huh.
No, grandfather. No, it is father. God, I'm terrible. Father getting his head chopped off, and they're kind of on the balcony looking down. So you can clearly tell that they're royalty or have some high connection in society.
My big aspect of this is number one, and I'll show you how I make these connections. Sylphie, and yes, I will use Sylphie because now I feel like I've confirmed myself my own internal turmoil here.
It's
What?
best boy.
Yeah, but how did Best Boy come into this girl's hands? Because clearly in this trailer it shows them, you know, there's a hole in the wall, probably looks like a magic distortion like caused that hole, and this girl's holding on to Fitz. So my big thing is number one, did the magic distortion, the displacement incident, affect Fitz in like an amnesiac sort of way? Did it cause her to change? Was it trauma? Was it more like, hey, here's this girl, here's a battle, like let me throw Fitz all the way in there? What happened that caused Fitz to be Fitz? I guess.
You're asking the right questions here. Chat, the fact that I've already spoiled it means I can actually ask good questions now. So let's just roll with it, chat. Because clearly this is Fitz. How do you think their first possible reunition is going to be? Is it going to be successful? Is it going to be a failure? Like them bumping into each other?
I'll put it this way: I think it's gonna be a failure, and I'll tell you why. Because when a parataxic distortion is created, like say that I have this image of you, SB, where you are my king, you are the Riz master, and I love you like in every single way, and like no matter what, everything you do is perfect. And say that I were to bump into you at my university, right? For whatever reason, but you're dead inside. Like you have cold eyes, you're not the person that I envisioned. All of a sudden, me trying to interact with you, there might be a lot of pressure in me to keep this image of you alive. And other people might be like, you really want to go and talk to him? That doesn't look like the person that you've talked to us about. So on and so forth. And while other people might be pushing me to go and talk to you in some way, shape, or form, I have to work up the courage to come and make sure that number one, you still remember our relationship and what it was. Or number two, try and get you to like subtly like reveal like, hey, I am SB, I've just had a really bad day or something. So there's a lot of pressure that comes through with it. That's where my mind is at.
Because I mean, clearly Fitz is wearing an attire, some sunglasses, hair's changed. So clearly a lot has changed as far as their appearance goes, well, to a degree. But I mean, the core aspects are always there. So it comes down to a question if and when they do reunite, because clearly they're going to bump into each other, being in the same sort of complex, is Rudy really going to see Sylphie? Or is Rudy just going to be so dead inside that Rudy just can't
Hold
see
on.
the world for what he's meant to see it as?
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. You're doing some great lines of thinking here, but now my brain automatically turned on the attachment mode, which is this. Say that I get anxiously attached to you, SB. You don't know who I am. You've forgotten who I am or whatever. And I go and I get like anxiously attached to you, and we're going everywhere. You want to go to Starbucks? I'll go to Starbucks with you. You want to go to the library? I'll be in the library with you. Like I'm trying to like be there for you in every single step of the way. My big thing is propinquity can take a big effect throughout all of that. And I wonder if Rudy is, and this might lead to your theory, this might take away from it in any way, shape, or form, right? But if Rudy might be, say, on the like sexually open, say that he might be bi-curious or something. I wonder if in a situation like this, would he start becoming curious about Fitz? And even in this
That's
case,
an interesting question.
in this case, because it's the same thing like that I would ask you. It's like if I'm devoting all this time and attention to you and say that you are open sexually, would you not start to feel after some sort of way a little questionative about like the amount of time that you're spending with someone and how they listen to you, and how they care about you. Because I'm assuming someone with an anxious attachment is going to try and be a people pleaser.
Yeah, especially, yeah. With that kind of mental kind of anguish going on, Rudy's going to be a lot more submissive, so he's going to be more likely to try and appease to people rather than being confrontational, unless really push comes to shove. But that's just kind of how I think people react to stressful situations. They can snap when push comes to shove, but in this situation, Rudy's very much in a very downward slump, so he's much more docile, probably going to be willing to try and appease to other people that might push him around a little bit.
So I'll jump in and I'll ask you this, which is, holy fuck, can Fitz heal Rudy?
That's the right question to ask.
Stop. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, before my brain fucking takes off from this world, dude, you're taking me through, and you're doing wonderful, by the way. You're doing absolutely wonderful. Like I've not really heard you like spoil anything, but now I'm like having an internal existential crisis.
I mean, to be honest, in my
Huh?
defense chat, I did already spoil that it was Sylphid in the last big stream that we talked about Mushoku Tensei, because if I remember correctly, I actually did say to him that I watched his video on the first trailer and I said he got it correct, even though chat was trying to gaslight him.
Thank you, because
I said that to him. I mean, good on you, chat, for trying really hard, but let's be honest here, it's really, really obvious. But here's the question, though.
Uh-huh.
Is Rudy a idiot?
Ooh.
Yes or no?
In what way? Because there's many ways that you can take this.
Let's say I got a haircut tomorrow.
Huh?
Or got a hair color change, nice new haircut, spruce the moose, got a nice new tuxedo. Would you recognize me? Or would you be a idiot?
Ooh, okay. So I can actually counter this one pretty nicely. Trauma. An insane amount of trauma in less than 2 years can cause face blindness.
I'm learning something new here. See, this is
Yeah.
educational for us, chat. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of people always seem to think, like, which is why, especially as people get older and for end of life therapy and stuff like this, you'll often get individuals who, like, before they pass away and all of this stuff, whenever they're going through the traumatic, like, existential crisis moments, they have a hard time recognizing loved ones, right? And people who go through a car crash, or for certain scenarios, at first they might remember every single detail, say the displacement incident, right, of what happened. But then another trauma may happen, and all of a sudden that memory may start to become foggy, and we repress situations, which is why face blindness is really, really, yeah. It's one thing where therapists and any good psychologist is instantly going through it in a quick trauma, being like, "Hey, how are you doing? What's it like? Do you remember who you've been hanging out with? Tell me about your childhood best friend." So, for example, Esme, tell me about your childhood best friend. Do you remember how they look like?
I remember interactions with them, but I don't
Ah!
actually remember their face too well.
Yeah, and that's sort of what comes out from major points of trauma along the way in our life, you know. It pops up, and for a majority of us, we have a hard time remembering faces in that case.
It's like I know what it looks like, but I can't describe it.
Yeah. So that might be something that comes into play in case someone can't recognize you like immediately.
It's really frustrating too, because I'm like, I can visualize it, but I can't describe it.
Right.
It's like that foggy sort of,
That's like a
like
mist.
you can kind of grab it, yeah, but it's like mist. You can't actually really grab it. You think you can grab it. It's there, but you just like, can't quite fully visualize it, but I can tell what it is. Like, you know, the shape, it's the colors, the hair to a degree, but it's like, there's just too many uncertainties in your mind.
But then comes even, I'll throw out another factor. What if you're at a grocery store, right? and say that you know the person, or you think it's this person. You know the name of that person, but you're not sure, and you're in public. Do you yell out the name, or is the social stigma a little too much?
Ah. See, that's an interesting question because, yeah, I mean, I'm very good with faces, so I recognize someone if I see them again. But then it's like if you see the person, you're like, you're not 100% sure, even if it's like a slight doubt. You're not going to say anything. You're just going to
Yeah.
kind of like keep quiet and hope that they maybe notice you. But then they won't say anything, probably because they don't want to say something because they're probably like, well, maybe they don't recognize. Yeah, it's a very interesting part about humans.
Yeah, the human brain is, yeah, is something, because on one aspect we can talk about how trauma affects the brain with face blindness and causing a mist-like effect for us to like. Well, we'll put it this way: whenever we've been really depressed and we've been out in public, are we in auto mode, or are we in like actually recognizing who's in front of us and being able to go ahead and like have deep meaningful conversations? The majority of us go into like autopilot, auto mode. And while people might introduce themselves and they might be a part of your life, I had this guy in counseling the other day where he was like, he's been in auto mode for a couple of years because major incident, major traumatic moment caused him to literally just go automate his life, automate his day. Where sort of like when you're driving and you don't know how you got from point A to point B. That's sort of what he's going through day by day. We were having this conversation. He's like, I finally felt like I snapped out of it because all of a sudden he was talking to his wife and he's like, wait a minute, did your hair change? Like, you're wearing a different, like, sense started to come through to him. And he's like, it was an introspective moment where he had this opportunity to reflect on what he was doing and how he didn't want to go ahead and stay on that trauma, wanted to take steps forward. And he's like, and I chose to be active in that single moment. And boom, he's like, face blindness gone. I felt like I wasn't in a deep dark hole where I can only see things through like a straw. And yeah, for some people, face blindness, trauma, all of these things, it can be a lot. It can be quite a bit. So, my follow-up question for you, because clearly, SB, you're driving us, like, you're driving me through like a big a wonderful whirlpool of emotions.
I'm driving you for a very dark, foggy forest right now, and I'm just like pointing out small little lights, and you have no idea what the light is. It could be a torch, it could be a house, it could be off into the ocean, wind. Like, it could be anything.
Is how do I describe it? Is Are we gonna see Orsted? Don't spoil that. But is Orsted? I'll ask you a bigger question. You're gonna answer. Go.
I was actually trying to remember because it's clearly going to be covered in the next 6 volumes. So I'm like trying to remember in my head, does Orsted actually appear or not? That shows how there's a lot of characters that appear in the story, and there's a lot of new, old. There's some very interesting characters you will meet.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be a real tease here. Watch episode 1.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Don't make me do a rewatch. You're gonna make me do a rewatch, SP. 15-hour analysis coming now. Like, oh,
15 analysis on the first episode. What is the revelation?
right. Because my follow-up question is this: the dichotomy that is being shown between Orsted and Rudy is often what I like to call conflict power resolution that is happening, right? I.e., Orsted doesn't know why Rudy is here, right? Because Orsted has clearly stated, "Oh, I know why Eris and Rujard are together, but what are you doing here?" And on the vice versa, Rudy has never been so overpowered before until he met Orsted. So,
I got a counter question because we're going through the dark forest.
uh-huh.
Do you think Orsted will still have a effect on Rudy throughout season 2, whether he is there or not? Will just the possible presence shake him up? Well, not like the physical presence, but like the presence of like knowing that he's out there shake him up. Like if something was to happen, like he's in a conversation, maybe he's at like a lunch table or something, and they're just discussing, and someone says, "Oh yeah, have you ever heard of that person? Orsted, how do you think he would react if that name or something connected to him was to appear in front of him?
I think his presence might still affect. And I think his presence might still affect him because dying is a form of trauma. If we're going to be realistic about it, right? Um, but it might not even just be him. It could be anything that's associated with him. Dragons, that person that he was walking with, whatever, right? Like, I'm sure you remember the person that was wearing the mask with the black hair. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that can trigger moments of PTSD, and even more so if you're put in a predicament. Say that I am Orsted, or I'm one of Orsted's kids. Fuck it. Well, we'll name it this way. And Orsted, my daddy killed you for a second, and you came back. Now you got to interact with me. You know, you go to this. I don't know. You're out and about in town, and you see me like, and I come up to you, and I'm like, "Hey, are you doing okay? Do you want to help me? Would you help me or no?"
Yeah, I think I mean, anyone that has like a traumatic event with someone, even if there's like the name, it could definitely really raise a heart, get you a little bit emotionally sort of upset. And I think that would be something interesting that, yeah, if that was something to happen, how would Rudy respond exactly? And what would that type of event play out? And I think that's,
Oh,
yeah.
Espe, you did a wonderful deflection tactic. I saw there. You did a wonderful deflection tactic.
Chat, I am a
Oh,
pro at
oh, you did a wonder. I hope people. Oh, you are. I love you, man. I love you because it's like we know each other's tells sometimes, and we're able to just jump off of it. SP for political office. Yes, yes. That deflection was so beautifully done. Which is my point. Like overall, I think if that is explored in a way, shape, or form, that would be interesting. But I am curious about future orientations, because as I said, there's a conflict power resolution that needs to happen. And I genuinely think, and I've always thought this, the man god can't be trusted. I think the fact of a
what makes you, 'cause I don't know if I've actually heard you say it or not, what makes you not wanna trust him?
tonality of the man god, the body language, like his body language reminds me a lot of someone that's really manipulative, really trying to go in, like, um the way he even asks questions to Rudy. It's sort of open-ended motivational interviewing questions, which sure, anybody else I'd be like, all right, whatever. But the way that he's asking them is in a way to steer Rudy's narrative into seeing it through his perspective, rather than you would think a god would allow you to make your own perspective or your own narrative out of things. My next big red flag that popped off was the fact that Orsted said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I like the whole Eris and like remembering Rui, but not Rudy." And for me, that's a big red flag, because is there, and this is where my line of question comes in, is there a power greater than the man god? Because it's clear to me, or almost clear to me, that Rudeus was probably brought in by a higher force than what we know.
Well, here's a question. What do you think the man god's power is?
And that's where I don't know. Is it control, or is it? Yeah, I don't know. Is it? Yeah. Oof. Oof. Being naked, being a man. No, but realistically, I don't know. I don't know if he has control over space, time, say control over just the aspects of what control is, because I haven't really like dove into what his like powers may be in general. That's an excellent question. I'm gonna have to look into
And I
that.
mean, and then it comes down to also another question of can and how would he be hurt because of where he is? Now, I actually don't know the answer to that question because I've stopped reading at a certain point because I'm saving all that for season 2. So I actually don't know the answer to that. And that's an interesting question of if he can be hurt, how can he be hurt? Because he's clearly in a very different plane of existence to everyone else. I mean, that's how he's able to communicate. He just comes into your dreams. So clearly he's somewhere eluding possible confrontation. And then the question comes down to how do you get to that place where he is if you want to get at him? Because clearly Orsted and the man god don't get along. So then the question comes down to, if there is a bit of a spiff between them, I mean, clearly the man god can get to Orsted because Orsted is physically on the planet, but how does Orsted get to the man god?
Hold on, I'm cooking. Hold on.
And I'm actually asking that question because I don't actually know the answer, and I'm curious about it as well, which clearly I will find it at some point. But my theory is that there's clearly some way to get to him in some form. It's just a question of, is it magical or is it some, well, I mean, clearly it probably is magical, but then it's like, okay, well, is it a type of magic that no one knows about, or is it just in plain sight? Is it something that Orsted knows about? Is it something someone else might know about that we just haven't put the pieces of the puzzle together? And if that's the case, how is Rudy going to go on that journey to find the pieces of the puzzle to be able to confront the man god? And how does that battle look? Like, is it like a physical battle where two gods fight each other, or is it something more about like injecting something into this plane to kind of corrupt or just slowly destroy him? And how does that slow decay happen?
Well, let me ask you this, because off of this, you're asking a lot of wonderful introspective questions that even I'm like, huh. So for me, what this is yelling is right now the one connection that we've seen from the man god, genuine talk conversation that we've seen, is with Rudy. Orsted might want to take out the man god. How can Orsted get to the man god? He's more than likely going to have to team up with Rudy at some point in time. This is just based off of, I literally just have like a diagram here of like all the different connections and stuff, because clearly, if, or let's say that Orsted reruns this world a trillion miles per hour, right? He's rerunning situation after situation after situation, or he's a mind reader or whatever. Why is Rudy so different? Why is Rudy the external variable, and that no god can control? The man god doesn't know where Rudy came in. Now, does Orsted doesn't understand why Rudy is here because it's a variable. It's an external variable.
Why do you think the man god can't fully control him?
For
I
Rudy,
mean, clearly he can try and like manipulate him with words and everything, but why can't the man god just straight up use more of his possible power there to really, because I mean that has been explained that he does have that manipulation power in him, because it's been shown that, why hasn't he been able to just straight up like force Rudy to do what he kind of wants in a more manipulative sense? Why is it so much convincing? Like, hey, you know, nudge, nudge. Hey, mate, I'm on your side. Why don't you do this thing for me? Or why don't you go down that path? That will benefit you, or kind of thing.
I think. Hold on. There we go. I think if they, well, number one, I feel like there is a higher god than what's being established here. Number two, I feel like there might be some sort of thing where it has to come out of Rudy's free will type of moment, or like the aspects of change or whatever may be happening. Because so far we've seen man god stop time, right, or be there with Rudy and talk to him, and all of these questions. So if I was a man god, why wouldn't I be able to influence you? But you're a variable outside of my control, that clearly the only thing I can do is talk to you, right? Get you to associate with the way that you look. I.e., I remember when Rudy saw himself as still his previous life and not his modern life. Which begs the question, the man god knows about Earth. The man god knows about this other life. About there must be other beings that come through, because clearly the man god was not like taken back at the fact that somebody was looking at himself through a previous perspective. So
Yes, yeah. He knows about it, but he has no influence on that, because that was explained in season 1 when Rudy brings it up.
so again, are there other beings? Are we watching essentially a chess match between two gods, with Rudy sort of being the external variable, but yet there's a bigger chessboard at play?
Well, the question is Orsted really a god?
That's an excellent question, or is that just a title? that's given to him. Ah, SB. And even greater question. Are you ready for this?
Is that simply just a strong heroic man versus a evil tyrant that's trying to manipulate and puppet others, or is it something more deeper, or is it two gods clashing, or is it that kind of, I mean, what is it, the Greek or the Roman mythology of like the titan versus the mortal human
Right.
that has
Well,
been blessed by another god?
I'll ask you this. Is Rudy, well, Rudy may be the main character of the story that we're seeing. Is he the main character of this world at all? Or is he just one of those people that we read in books the same way that we're reading in books?
Kind of actually want to answer that, because giving the answer won't change anything. Giving the answer really, it does tease something that you'll have no idea about, and the answer is no.
Oof. Oh, SBU, wonderful. Oh, that's so deep. I feel like I'm having I'm so excited, man. I am so you literally pump up like Mushoku Tensei now because the fact that he isn't. Oh man. Oh man. Makes him a lot more human. Makes him literally not fall into the stereotypical. I'm gonna be the OP character just for the sake of like whatnot. Like
And yeah, I mean that's why actually answering it makes it more fun, because then it makes more questions than answer. There's no real answer other than the one answer, and it's no real context, and I mean, it makes another million questions. Now I know the context to that, but you don't, and that's what makes it interesting, because now you've got to think about, well, if Rudy's not really the main character,
mhm.
then why is he there, and how's he impacting the story, and is he changing something that was always meant to play out in a certain way? Was things always destined to play out in a specific fashion? And what was that fashion? And how has Rudy changed that?
Wait. That was a big gulp from you there, SB. Wait. Is Rudeus in any way, shape, or form sort of the influence for whatever main character may come? Or a bridge for the main character
Who
that may
says there
come?
is a main character?
I'm not even saying that that it should be addressed in this book because this is the story of Rudy, but I'm talking about like the MC of the world.
I think a better question to ask you, Ed, is if he's not the main character and he's just an outside influence, say like a pebble thrown into a pond, rippling what is always meant to be a calm sort of an event of things, how is the man god responding to that? Because clearly the man god can see things, because otherwise how is he able to steer Rudy's behavior or say, hey, do this or things are going to go bad? Like, example being season 1 where he said, you're going to meet a fella, befriend him. And that, of course, became the friendship between Rudy and Rigid. How did clearly he can see things. He's got some form of foresight. So if he knows events are going to play out in a certain fashion, and Rudy is that pebble that has disturbed the flow, how is that affecting the man god? Is he happy? Is he frustrated? Because clearly the man god has a good poker face.
Oh, he does, but I feel as though this would be wouldn't an external variable in any test that you're running be a frustration? Even if it does go along your way, if they have free will, wouldn't that necessarily be a point of frustration? Because what if, for example, SV, you're like, oh, I'm running all of these tests. They're absolutely, trying to make sure that things go from A to Z over and over and over again, and I'm trying to duplicate it 1,000 times. Okay, so you're running these tests 1,000 times, but along the way, in comes in Hacker Man, me, and I decide to go ahead and input some variables of free will, and all of a sudden, these 1,000 tests, you were running 998 of them, or 99 of them, ran successfully, but one of them didn't. And the one that I put like that, the one that didn't was the one that I input this variable into. All of a sudden, you have a weakness. All of a sudden, you can't control this thing anymore. All of a sudden, people are going to scrutinize, why did 999 of them run successfully, but one didn't? What did SB do wrong?
So here's another question. If Rudy's not the main character, should he have existed or not? And if he shouldn't have existed, should have someone else taken his place? Or is he simply taking up a space that should have never existed?
I think he's just taking up a space that should have never existed. And the reason why I think that is just time and time again, he's and I've thought about this and I've asked this question before, like, what if Rudy wasn't here, right? And I feel like, for example, Eris would probably be brought back with Rudeus because we have Orsted saying that, right? More than likely, you still have the whole Zenith and Paul and Lilia thing happening, regardless. So I feel like nothing really, aside from like the attachments that like Rudy grows on with them, nothing really changes in that aspect. Of course, things may start to change, so but like because he became sort of the influential factor of like Eris starting to change. And maybe that's a big change because maybe Eris started to really change later on down the road, and maybe it was because of Rudeus. So maybe it's taking away that like the agency of others acting as agents of change for one another, and him being the agent of change for everyone else. Oh, SB, what are you doing to me? All of a sudden, my mind's like, okay, here's a.
See, this is really fun because it's not even anything to do about the trailer, and we've gone down a really
Really?
deep rabbit hole. And I'm very careful with what I'm saying. I'm doing a very good job. Let's be honest here. The self. You already guessed it, so I'm not a traitor, guys. I haven't failed you, but I mean, I think that by knowing it's Sylphie, it leads more questions because how's that relationship going to fold? What are the rippling effects going to be? Rudy clearly is a pebble in a pond and he's having a rippling effect on the world. And there are many different pieces of the puzzle that are all stringed together in some way, shape, or form. And clearly, Eris has deep, compelling feelings. But the question is if Rudy is an anomaly, what would happen if there was a second pebble thrown?
Or a third?
Or a third? But the question is, if there was a third, when would the third or the second happen? And how would that affect the world? Would it just be something small and whimper? Or would it have a grand scaling effect on the world? Something that would truly shatter things.
You're getting me to think, man. You're getting me to think because I feel like. Have you ever heard of the like? Essentially, the event horizon is when like we're about to hit like plateau, like we're about to hit a great moment here, and I don't know why I'm getting a feeling like we're literally about to see like the convergence of two big ripples uniting into one giant one. Just out of what you're saying right here, man. Because I feel like time is a big factor that is shown throughout the series. Our man dies and he's reborn, and then we jump cut to like other moments in his life that he remember. SB, I have a question for you now.
Yeah,
Are we? This is not a straight timeline, is it?
that's the right question to ask.
I'm literally throwing my pencil. I don't want to throw Senor Pinguino because I got shit on last time for it. Okay,
I'm doing the politician answer there.
you are doing the politician answer. SV, okay, SV is here's how do I ask this? I feel like I need to go get my like tinfoil hat and put it on. Is this a cycle that has already started and maybe stopped already?
That's the correct answer to ask.
I love this. You need to
But
block
then
up.
the question then comes down to, if you believe that to be true, how do you break the cycle? And are there going to be forces that are going to try and force that cycle to correct itself? And who are those forces? And how do you stop those forces from influencing the correction, if that is to be the case?
So I'll have a question. I have a question for you. What if that answer is not in your time? What if there's a problem so present right now in your life that the answer is not directly in your time, in your lifetime, per se?
Here's a question. How would
Oh,
you respond if Rudy failed? What would you feel if Eris died, Roxy died, Sylphie died, everyone Rudy loves and cares about dies in front of him, one by one, piece by piece? How would you respond to that?
and there's no ability to go back? Because if there is an ability to go back, I'm fucking insta hitting that like button. It's like it's rewind time, YouTube rewind time. Like, we're gonna go back and fix the little mistakes. But here's my other thing for you. Let's say that you do have a perfect run, right? Say that you do have a good run. You get the good ending, you know. But at the same time, the man god still lives for whatever reason. You have the ability to live out the rest of your life, say with family, friends, loved one. Or you become the grand wizard, supreme mage, whatever, and you can literally oscillate yourself forward in time. What do you pick? To try and find maybe an answer in the future. Or maybe in the past, way in the past.
What would Rudy do if he messed up that badly? I mean, that's the question. It's one of those where it's like, if you truly messed up, how would he respond, and how would he fix it, if he can fix it?
Right? To be honest with you, this is me just off of the psychology off of him in season 1. He is a pleaser. His attachments mean the world to him. So I can legitimately see him, like, even if he messes up, and like if he had to choose between spending the rest of his life in the question that I just asked with his family and or throwing all the way up to the like future and or past, I feel him. I just see him like an old man, like literally just trying to go ahead and like be happy with the family that he does have, because that is the one thing he did not have in his past life. So meeting the needs that weren't met previously. And also because he's not the main character. SB, my heart is breaking. Oh, SB.
I could break you even more, actually, right now, and I'm tempted to actually just shatter you into pieces.
Oh, God.
What if Rudy is simply a ripple of a grander story that is not yet played out? He is simply just a tale in an epic, long journey, and he is just one piece in a very, very large chess piece
Right.
that you're just seeing the story of.
Well, I mean, that's sort of what I brought up when I was mentioning the fact that what if he's just this volume, this book, to whoever the main character of that world is? The same way that he's a volume and book to us. His journeys, his like it's sort of like the tales, the great tales that we know of, like the heroes of our past and whatnot.
And if he's one of those pieces, why did it take someone from an alternative world to be that piece in the chessboard?
I'll run
Why
it.
specifically him? I mean, why not find someone else that could replace Rudy? I mean, you could find anyone. Maybe Sylphie could have replaced Rudy's position. Maybe Eris could have replaced it. Maybe some Cliff could have replaced it. Anyone or anything could have been that person that fills that spot, why did it specifically have to be Rudy that got put in that position, and why from an alternative world? What makes him unique?
What if it's not about uniqueness in of itself? Right. Oh, I feel like, oh man, this is why I love you, because we go fucking deep. Like, we take random like avenues. We're way past the trailer. We're just like going in as deep as we can. When it comes to this, it's sometimes it's the, what is it, the theory that like nothing really matters, but everything matters at the same time. So, for example, you could put anyone in Rudy's shoes, and yes, they would do whatever they know best, but would their end results be the same? Right? So, for example, let's say that they would bring Cough Me, one of the chatters right now in chat, and throw him into that world. Okay, yeah, he would do some great things, but I feel as though his actions would probably not set up. Ooh, okay, wait, hold on. Now you give me this other idea. What if, especially if we're running through this, whoever, and this is future orientation, the hero of this world is, right? Whoever hero of the world, not even of Rudy's story is, has failed multiple times. And this isn't the first reincarnation that we're talking about. This is just another one thrown in the books, but no one has made such an impact into what needs to happen for this main character to succeed. He's just a stepping stone in the grand scale of things.
I'm going to give you an answer.
Okay.
In 2 parts.
Sure.
You're right and you're wrong.
Okay.
It's like a metal detector. You're getting close. You're not quite there, but you're getting there.
Hey, I'll fucking take that. I'll take that over anything any day. I do have one more question, which may deviate us back into the trailer real quick. And this might be a yes or no.
Yeah, we went into a chasm just then. That's deep. And
That's
I've been really careful not to spoil anything, but it's like I think some people could argue, just to defend myself, some people could argue, yes, you're kind of spoiling what may or may not happen, but just to be very clear, I have gaslighted you a couple of times with some things, but I've teased you on some things as well, and it's the question of what have I gaslight you on and what haven't I gaslight you on. Chat has kind of twigged what I'm doing, and it's more about the questions you've got to ask yourself, because I think that's the thing that's been prevalent throughout the whole story of season 1, and it will be a continuous question throughout the rest of the story. Is Rudy really the main character? And if he is or is not, what is his role to play?
right.
And why is he so important if he's not important? Like, it's a contradiction. Is he important or is he not important? Because he's clearly having an effect on the world, but he's a nobody.
Hold on. There's also something else. Give me two seconds here. 2 seconds, mate. I'm quickly gonna speed run through this. There's more to this opening, to this first episode, that I feel I'm not missing.
It will be really hard for you to pick up on it, but there's something there in the first episode.
Hold on. In case chat is wondering, what are you doing? Is it maybe time for me to do a rewatch? Maybe. I'm gonna bring you up. Hold on, I gotta bring you up for this as well. This 2 high school students thought to have also been hit are currently missing. So 2 other people were with him. SP? 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 What?
So, if you're reading that correctly,
Yeah.
that's 2 additional people missing. Rudy's missing. 2 students missing. Where are they?
Oh man.
And the funny part is the writer did this very well, because where are they?
If Rudy got reborn, here's a
By
sad
the way, that Truck should get paid overtime for that effort. I mean, he did a 3 for
3
one
for
there,
1.
apparently. Like, people just went missing left and right. Like,
Here's the interesting part. What if Rudy was never meant to be reborn? What if the two teenagers were and Rudy was just caught up in it? Literally, what if like and it's like, oh okay, fuck, I don't know what to do with them. Boom, we'll throw them here.
well, this is the question I was going to ask before. If Rudy was never meant to be in that world, what would have the world look like?
True, actually, very true. Because he's already
Because
had.
you look at all the events that have played out. Where would have Eris been? Where would have Fitz been? Or Sylphid been? Fitz
Oh,
been? Roxy been? What would have happened to Paul of Zenith? How would have that affected them? Would have there been another child in Rudy's place? Or would it have been just a stillborn? Like, what would have those effects been with a missing piece to the puzzle? And the question is, was that how things were always meant to play out? Or is Rudy an anomaly?
and even if he here's my next question for you, because we're answering questions with questions, and this is why I love you so much, because we're all like we're brain blasting one another so hard. It's okay, good thing I didn't say that. I thought I said something else. I'm glad. uh when it comes to this, how much does a divergence of a timeline need to be before it becomes the prime timeline?
So repeat the question.
So how great of a divergence needs to happen in a timeline before it becomes the prime timeline? How many turning points inside of, if we're going through a multiversal perspective or a multi-timeline perspective, how many turning points and nods and threads need to turn before all of a sudden that is the main thread?
The question also then comes down to how many are there?
Right? Because if
Here's the question though. Is it just a timeline that is going around in a circle? Is someone living that timeline out? And does someone have the memories of them? And who is that person? Is it Rudy? Or is it someone else?
I'm gonna be straight up, I think it's circular, and I think Orsted has that memory because Orsted's the only one that's been able to call it out. I also think that this is a timeline that's been created by the man god.
Just to make sure people aren't saying that I'm telling you things in secret. Why do you think that?
The reason why I think it's Orsted is because in their interactions, and it was very obvious, and I know I stated this in my own little analysis of that episode. Orsted calls out Rudy as you're not supposed to be here. He's the anomaly. He's the only one that's seen it. And it's mentioned as though he's constantly rerunning through things. As though, yeah. That's why I'm like, for me, I feel like Orsted, logically speaking, would be the one that gets to relive everything. Where does his hatred from for the man god stem from? From a major incident like this.
Do you think the man god is also reliving those events?
I think that the man god. Ooh, okay, wait a minute. What if the man god's main thing out of creating this timeline, because what if he can't physically affect the dragon god, this role, this title, whatever, but he can if he if he becomes like a learned helplessness type of, or once you give up hope, literally give up hope, and you kill yourself, or you do it, you take yourself out. Sorry, YouTube and Twitch. All of a sudden, hey, like I didn't have to interact with it. Like no one else has to become involved. I'm now wondering if there's any codes of behaviors or interactions between like certain gods, if there's any restrictions and stuff off of this, because to me this feels like a timeline that's been looped from the man god's perspective, because the man god wants to run things a certain way. Rudy is introduced, and now the man god wants to hammer this weird looking nail back into the board, the nice board that he has everything laid out in. So like again, you're hitting on something, and I'm like, now comes in the next question. Who was that girl that Orsted was walking with, or the guy that Orsted was walking with? It was a girl. It was a girl, right? I think it was a girl.
That's the correct question to ask.
Was she one of the teenagers that was talked about in episode 1 that got hit with the car, went missing?
That's the correct question to ask.
Oh God, okay. Well, I guess the follow-up question is, where's the other teenager and what time is he, or space, or whatever?
That's the correct question
Oh,
to ask.
SP, that's, you're now gonna haunt me with that question.
It's gonna be my running like catchphrase now.
That's the correct question to ask. All right, well, I do have one final thing I want to touch on with you, which is clearly it fits now that there's a lot more everything out there. I feel like Fitz might be the reason why Rudy heals this season, right? So then here comes my next question. Is Roxy going to use her power dynamics that have been built to be with Rudy in some way, shape, or form in the future?
The question is, when and how does their reigniting, and if it does happen, yeah, when is that going to be, and how is that going to be?
That's a good question, actually.
Because Rudy is an interesting person. Do you believe him to be a one shooter or willing to shoot the barrel into multiple holes,
Let,
as
let's
so to
be
say?
well, let's be honest. He's willing to shoot the barrel into multiple holes if he's healed. If he's a healed man, he like that Paul nature in him starts coming out, and if it moves, I feel, or and if it's someone that he cares about, because I feel like it would be different if it was like just like a random
I mean,
person.
to be honest, even though I'm asking that question, you probably already know because that's the one thing on the internet that's been spoiled a million times is like, what hole has Rudy shot it into? Possibly, if it's one or multiple. I mean, that's the one thing that's always been spoiled. But I think the more important question is not that, is how does that happen? Because
Well, what
if there
I'm
are multiple, how are those interactions happening and how do others react to it? Because there is a big thing against, having multiple wives. I mean, you look at Paul when he had Zenith and Lilith, there was a big disdain against it. And that could be, yes, religion. That there was a bit of religion with Zenith, not happy about it. But there is also, I think, a cultural stigma as well.
but here's my, I guess my follow up question with this. Rudy, since the literally Roxy was introduced, has placed Roxy on a pedestal. Then here's where I'm afraid of, as a psychologist, as a therapist, as everyone in between, because I've seen this happen way too many times. Which is, it might not happen, and I'm kind of glad if it doesn't. I'm kind of glad if it completely steers away from it. It's just because it's a fucked up scenario. People that are placed on this pedestals, on pedestals of power, on, we can already see that, like, Rudy is crying into the holy relic, holding on for dear life into
Yep.
that holy relic and asking
That's,
for
yep,
everything.
that was in the trailer. So he
There's
clearly uses her as an attachment to try and move forward through that journey that he is struggling with throughout that trailer because he's grabbed onto it, he's bawling his eyes out, and he's trying to latch onto that one last thing that he has, that one last glimmer of hope. And as you were getting to, how does that interaction unfold? Like, if they were to reignite, how would it be? Would it be awkward? Would it be grand? Would they jump into each other's arms wholesomely and be like, I missed you, Roxy? Or
so
would it be awkward?
so even more so. And sorry if I'm sounding a little bit quiet. It's just because my brain is processing a lot of fucking. When
Oh,
I
no,
process
I
a
can
lot,
tell you're thinking.
yeah, when I process a lot, my brain, like, I start getting a little bit quieter. But if Rudy is healed, since the first season, the sexual tension and the like sexuality between both of them has always been at a high, right? Like Rudy seeing, for example, Rudy seeing Roxy masturbate. If we're gonna be realistic about it, and enjoying it and talking about it with You know, all the different themes that come out of it. Rudy healing because Roxy allowed him to take that first step out of his home, so that way he could go and interact with the other kids. You know, there's time and time again, like the little tension moments between both of them has been a little high. So I'm kind of wondering what would happen in a scenario where, say, Roxy is now being stigmatized, or there's some sort of pressure happening to Roxy, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna marry you off to nobility," and Roxy's like, "Fuck that."
That's an interesting question. I mean, what's to say that fate couldn't happen to more than one person?
True, true. This is why I fucking love chatting with you. Every single time we go in deep. In case you guys are wondering, do SP and I have conversations like this? Yeah, there's a lot of VODs out there. I'm pretty sure you guys can find this. But I always feel like I learned something, and I always feel like I learned something new with their chats, man. I don't. How are you feeling? How do you feel about everything?
I'm really enjoying this, but I'm being very careful. I'm having those little, like, you hear those little like moments where I'm just sitting there thinking, and that's me just programming in my head. I'm like, okay, he's asking this. How do I approach that? People have worked out the quote now. The that's the right question to ask. It's from iRobot. Congratulations, chat. You worked it out. But it's about what I'm trying to do so that chat understands my mindset is I'm trying to lead you down multiple rabbit holes, and you've got to try and guess what that rabbit hole is the correct one, because some of them are correct and some of them are wrong. Like I've thrown a couple of curveballs in there in how different things approach, but most of the stuff I've thrown as answers that's led you down to deeper rabbit holes, which is like a chasm, has already been spoiled in season one. It's just been hinted at and alluded at. Like, for example, two missing students. What happened to them? Why did only Rudy disappear and appear in an alternate world? Why did the other two just disappear and that's it? And who and what and why? Where are they? What are they doing? How are they affecting? Because clearly Rudy is a ripple in an effect. And his journey throughout season two is going to be an interesting one where he's going to be meeting new people. He's going to be affecting the world in different ways. And there's clearly a political game being played out. From season one, you saw this new princess, blonde, long hair girl, Zelda gigolo version. How is her effect on the world going to be played out, and how is Rudy going to interact with a girl like her, because she is got a very high upbringing. Rudy is just a normal person in his eyes. But is he really a normal person? Because even though he may not be the main character, but is there something more special to him? And if there is, how does that have? And when I'm saying that, there's multiple layers to being special. There's like special on a grand scale, just special in the sense of Rudy has a strange name or something. How is that going to affect? Like, Rudy is technically nobility,
Mhm.
and that was explained in season one because of the fact that the Grey's family was considering using Rudy as a political pawn. Is there going to be more repercussions to that? Or are people going to perceive him differently because
Right.
of the fact that he has an interesting name? And because this is a factual fact about history, is that throughout history, those that are of royalty generally have longer names. Like for Rudy, it's Rudeus something Grey Rat. I'm forgetting the
Glorious.
entire name. Yeah. So if people were to twig to that, how would people respond to that? Like he's in this world now more on his own. He's not in a more isolated environment. He's now in a much more
Nice.
grittier part of the world. He's not gone from his homestead to a area where he's teaching a rich, pumped up little tsundere. He's in the open world. How is he going to interact with those people, and how are they going to interact with him being a broody, moody teen growing up with a lot of emotional issues, a lot of emotional baggage, and that royalty name sitting on his shoulder? How do you think that's going to affect him, and how do you think others are going to treat him?
Well, let's be honest. He's now a political pawn for a lot of people. Why? Because I'm sorry, you're talking about someone that has come from nobility, right? Who has learned like one of the like a Saint Water style or and other forms of magic. Um let's be honest. Any person that's been extraordinarily gifted has always been seen or used as a pawn piece at times for other people's games, right? If you were insanely smart, guess what? We're not even going to go that far. World War II, the United States and a lot of other countries ended up getting a lot of the smartest scientists out of certain areas because all of a sudden that benefited our game, right? In the olden days, we would go ahead and have relationships where it's like, oh, the greatest knight out there, SB, the Riz Lord right here, you know, knows how to fight and tend to sheep and do all these wonderful things. He can manage. He knows how to do the maths. He knows how to do the reads. Like he'll manage your property wonderfully. We'll marry him off to your daughter, you know, or so on and so forth. People would always move things according to what benefits them most. Rudy, at the moment, let's be honest, he's a bachelor who has insane potential, right? Who probably knows a lot of magic and a lot of other stuff that people aren't aware to. So can they probably use that? And other people as well. Let's look at Eris. Eris was another major one, and I think it was talked about at the end of season one where they were talking about, um, like oh, like you have to stay here to rebuild the city. People need you. The guy was already putting expectations and whatnot about marriage and whatnot on her. So yeah, can people be used as pawns? Absolutely. Does that create a lot of pressure for marriage or for marrying into a different nobility and whatnot? 1,000%. I mean, we even see it nowadays. Most parents ask, "Hey, do you have kids?" Even the kids that I teach, the kids that I do play therapy with, they're like, "Hey, where are your kids, Mister Ed?" And I'm like, I don't want any at the moment. And they're like, well, my dad's as old as you are, and I'm like, that's your dad's fault. That's not my fault. It has nothing to do with me. So like, there's often a lot of like pressure and expectations that are being thrown on people to even succumb to what society expects you to. So if you are a powerful mage, SB, society would probably expect you to do what's best in nobility's name. I would think.
So then that comes down to at the end of season one, we saw the princess and she was talking to Fitz. And she's basically showed a very big interest into Rudy. She was clearly looking at some paperwork. She was eyeing off some potential meat out there to consume for whatever her desires are. What do you think her objectives are going to be? And how do you think they're going to interact? Because clearly she's got an objective. Fitz is helping that objective, but Fitz clearly has a connection to Rudy. And how is that going to be a balance between them? Because clearly the princess wants something. She probably wants to help the princess. And Rudy is just another piece of that puzzle or a pawn in that game that is going to be played.
What if the princess uses Fitz as a bargaining tool?
That's an
Hey,
interesting approach there.
you here's Fitz. Y'all might have some special connection or something in the future. Um, what if you guys do what you gotta do, and in the process you protect me, or if there's a power struggle for say the kingdom or something, I have your backing. That's sort of where I'm
I
thinking
mean,
immediately.
clearly there's some political turmoil because of the events that played out in season one. And I mean, that's why Aerys's father was executed in season one. So clearly, and I mean, politics is politics. It's a medieval fantasy. So there's always some political shenanigans going on. It's not like it's some revolutionary thing. I mean,
Right.
everyone's trying to gut each other at some point and someone's trying to rise to the top. But with the princess, it comes down to why is she there? What is she looking for? And what is she hoping to gain out of Rudy? And as you've mentioned, that approach, it could be something using Fitz as like in a sense like, hey, I'm gonna get you to get a connection between him and I'll persuade him to do whatever I desire, or there could be something a little bit more there, or clearly Fitz has a connection to Rudy and there's clearly something going on. Is she going to oppose it? Is she going to be for it? Is she going to try and manipulate it to her advantage? Or is she going to foster it as a loving mother kind of a thing?
Well, I think
And to chat, no, I'm not spoiling it, so calm
yeah,
down.
yeah, I was about to say considering we've gone like literally a minute 30 trailer has turned into like a 3 hour discussion, a 3 hour analysis and discussion. That's how you know the trailer was good. Um,
Exactly.
I think considering the image that we see of Fitz and her in that, like, you know, wherever the displacement incident might have like led to and how it burned through the wall or whatever, I'm thinking more than likely it's like a motherly type effect where it's like, oh, you need this, oh man, he's not seeing you this way, or they're not doing this, we'll get him to do this. I feel like it's more like a cheerleader on your side with that double intent of like, okay, but now that he's like, say that like Fitz and Rudy get together or they're able to go out and interact, okay, but now how can I bring him closer? He's clearly someone that like Fitz will probably has mentioned at some point in time. I would probably
I
be
mean,
impressed.
Fitz, yeah, I mean, Fitz kind of talks very highly of Rudy at the end of season 1. So it's kind of one of those, clearly the princess is going to go in that expecting things from Rudy. Another question also comes down to, what do you think her kind of personality is? Because if you believe she's a bit of a fostering type, possibly, how do you think that interaction goes with others? Is she just a beloved character by all? Like everyone loves her and no one opposes her in that school? Or is there a bit of a cheerleader squad and there's some people out there that don't like her? And if those people don't like her, are they just don't like her because of political reasons or because she's just a pretty upstar little girl? It could be a multitude of different reasons why someone wouldn't like her. I mean, she's attractive, she's a
Right.
princess, she's clearly got some people by her side that are influential. I mean, Fitz definitely seems like a very gifted individual due to possibly a well educated teacher that helped her. So, I mean, clearly Fitz is a very good asset. I mean, clearly she had a great teacher, so the princess kind of keeps her close. I mean, you see that in the trailer. They're walking side by side. I've literally got this exact screenshot in my face right now, so I'm describing it. The flowers are flying across, and she's kind of whisking away, and there's that little fan group. So clearly she's got a fan group, but is there others that may not or would oppose her, and what kind of groups are they?
Have a good night, Victor. Appreciate you. I hope you know that this is probably going to go up in Six Face World or something tomorrow. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Love you, man.
I feel sorry for the editors. They got a lot
Yeah.
of work.
Yeah, I know. The editor's got
I already played this scenario out in my head last night when I was practicing this conversation. I
uh-huh.
sat there and thought to myself, if you guess anythings, you're not going to get in trouble now. It's going to be me. They're going to be like, he didn't read the line. It was a spirit who told you.
Well, even then, like I need to point it out, which is like, okay, now I'm getting the books, like literal, like we got one on stream, right? And then we've been doing some of the chapter reads because thanks to Victor and others. So it's like I've know bits and pieces, not like future orientations, but like of like the first season through like the light novels and stuff. So if they're like, "Oh, you read the light novel," technically yes, and it's all on YouTube. Everything that we've ever done, like pieces of it, you know, and it's like we're getting the actual full books here from time to time. But this is gonna be one hell of a video, SB, and I hope you know if people come after you, we'll fight them. We'll fight them because no
It's okay.
way.
I just personally really enjoy these convos because you look at things very deeply. I feel like we both kind of think very analytically, and because you're a psychologist, you look at things in a very interesting perspective. I I don't know what it's with me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a psychologist. I sometimes I sometimes wonder if people think I am because I kind of go a little bit too deep. But I think reason why people call me a Rizmas is because I throughout my life I've observed a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and one of the great things I like about Mushoku Tensei, and it's why I fell in love with the light novel and the anime, is that they are very realistic characters. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. There's all those little kinks in them, and throughout life, I've met a variety of interesting people and learned a lot about behavioral patterns because I just observe every minute detail and how I interact with them, how they interact with me. And seeing that in this anime, you can pick up subtle little details, and there's little things about these characters and how they blend together that I really love. And it's one of the reasons why I fell in love with Paul, even though he's an interesting father. He's a failure and a success at the same time. But that's parenting in a nutshell. You're a failure and a success. I mean,
Right.
you're going to make mistakes. And what's important is not the mistake itself, but learning from the mistake. The mistake is fine. Just make sure to learn from it. And I think that's something that these characters do as well.
Well, I mean, learning is a big part of the process, and for me, it's like these characters. This is why I love this series, because it's realistic change. It's not change that happens overnight. It's not the MC coming in here like, the main character being super duper buff and instant harem, and oh, everyone loves him and he's too OP. It's quite literally like, hey, yeah, he might get some AP powers, OP powers, from learning, but he has a lot of trauma that he's been growing from, and you can tell that trauma affects him in every shape or form. He's not a perfect human, and that's what I love about it, is he's not perfect. He is flawed, and we can see those flaws, and we can see how he's working on those flaws. For example, again, uh, I'm doing a mind crawl on sex, the general concept of sex in Mushoku Tensei. One of the big things was when he first met Eris, right? He was instantly trying to be all handsy and stuff. Boundaries were hit, and he was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I did not expect to be hit." And all of a sudden, you could tell from that moment on, whenever an interaction came, it was like instant, like hit again, boundaries being placed. When Eris goes over to him for her birthday or whatever, or his birthday, and Paul, like not Paul, Eris's father is like, "Hey, you can go ahead and have her," or whatever. So it's like time and time again, the concept of sex has come with consequences. In the ship,
That's an interesting point as well, because I saw chat arguing, and they were arguing about a point that I brought up about Rudy's name having an impact because it's nobility name. And
uh
some were saying, oh, but Paul disowned his name. That doesn't matter. Rudy has a name associated to him, even if his father disowned it and disconnected it, the name is still there and it still has weight. That's just factual and very much prevalent in season one, which is why they hid Rudy. They didn't want to make a big birthday scene for him because his name is still important. And whether Rudy is willing to do something or not with that name does not matter. It's the question and the answer does not matter, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because people are going to perceive that name and go, oh, he's a grey rat. He's got power behind that. He could be used as a pawn. And that's why I asked the question about how's that princess going to respond to that? Because he's got a name and he's got potential. And Fitz is clearly going to puff up his ego and be like, yes, he's a great magician. He's a great wizard. But then she's also going to sit there and say, oh, well, he's gifted, but he's got a name attached to it. That's a double whammer. That's a buy one, get one free kind of combo. And that's going to make her very interested. How that response is going to be what is interesting. So that's why I'm approaching these questions very interesting. I'm stating the obvious and then asking the question of, well, this is the obvious, but where is it going to lead?
right, right. And it's an interesting journey because we've gone on so many like deep holes and everything, and it's just been a wild ride. It's been an amazing ride so far. But with that, I'm quickly going back to it, which is when it comes to, whoa, man, I'm like, we've literally covered so many topics. What the fuck? It felt like 2 minutes, and then I looked down and I was like, because I have my like my actual OBS on this site now, and it says like, shit, dude, what?
Your analysis on the trailer and then me jumping in, asking the questions, and then you asking questions and then bouncing
Yeah, but I'm
backwards and
looking
forwards. It's
forward.
just it's a deep rabbit hole.
You are glorious. That's what that is. Because you enable such discussion to happen, and that's why I appreciate it. Um,
Our chemistry works really well.
it does. It really does. It really does. That's why I'm like, when people ask, "Are you guys really friends?" It's like, yes, absolutely. Like, I don't know what the fuck people think, but yes, we really are friends, guys. Yes, we do talk about stuff all the time, and yes, whenever is possible, I'm always like, yes, we get on. So,
Yeah, and I mean, I've been puffing up the season 2 collaborations because if it
yeah,
all goes well, it's going to be interesting time zones. But from the sounds of it, I think what we both discussed is pretty much it's going to be a weekly discussion on each episode.
yeah, and
So basically, what you'll do is you'll you'll do your watch, you'll give your own analysis, which will probably be like an hour in itself, and then it will come on, and then it will be deep into the waters kind of thing, and that will all be non-spoilers. We're only going to specifically focus on each individual episode as well.
So my question for you is, do you want to do it on Sundays or on Fridays? And that's something that we can talk about on the Discord, or any other day, whatever day works best for you. We'll talk about it in the Discord.
I mean, I'm very flexible on the times. It's just basically working out the time, getting that schedule, and then I'll just wake up whenever I'm needed to. I think it's more challenging probably for you because of your work, and then Nat as well.
Yeah. So we'll reach out to Nat. We'll see what schedule works best for her, so that way we can best assimilate it, so it's nice and easy. I know I was promising people, oh yeah, Sundays, but seeing how our conversation on a 2-minute trailer took it got us into
And
the
just
4 hour
imagine when they're
mark.
24-minute long episodes.
That's why I'm like, oh man, you guys, we're in for a giant ride. With that being said, though, guys, I hope you guys appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Masters, exactly. SP, question for you: are you doing anything exciting? Any new exciting things coming out your way?
In general, or just channel, or both?
In both, porque no los dos? Yeah.
I mean, in real life, I've got some conventions coming up, surgeries that are pending still. That's like a never-ending wait. Um, it's kind of like those moments where it's like when there's a storm, it's a storm because it's always
Right.
like kind of quiet, and then there's roller coaster moments with my life. So I'm kind of spending that time playing some Tears of the Kingdom, just kind of chilling, waiting for Mushoku Tensei season 2 to come out, and it's helped because it's just kind of like refreshing my mind, writing down ideas. I've got like a whole notepad here with a variety of topics because I know what's coming. I can kind of pre-prepare some of the interesting topics, which I honestly am very looking forward to because there's some really interesting hooks in the story that have already been hinted in the trailer, like particular characters. I mean, especially at the poster. What do you think of the blonde girl? Not the princess, but the other blonde girl that was in the poster standing next to Rudy while he was all broody looking down.
Wait,
And then
wait,
there's the other characters behind that are kind of staring at them.
I'm trying to bring up the poster here. Feel like I have all the not
It
actual.
is on my Twitter page if you want an easy, quick way to find it.
Thank you. I'm gonna go and pull this up.
Because there's 3 characters in the background. One is apparently Paul, apparently. So the chats, millions of chats have said it's not Paul. I'm just being sarcastic. But everyone keeps being like, is that Paul? No.
Is that Paul?
I mean, that I've seen some weird questions being like, is that Paul? Is that Norn? It's like, no, no, no. That's not spoil. That's just fact.
Oh, is this one it? Hold on. I'm gonna try and show it on screen here. Is that one it?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, beautiful. I think
Because you can clearly tell they're adventurers
right.
from the trailer. So that's the question of Rudy's on his journey. He's clearly meeting new people, and some of them are clearly adventurers. So he's dabbling into that adventure space. How do you think that's going to be? Because he's done adventuring before with Rugid and Eris, but him going at it and trying to meet new people, that's something he's never done before.
I think, especially as I mentioned, I feel as though this relationship between the girl and Rudy, um, clearly we see him sort of like down on his knees, butt naked. I don't think anything will really come out of that. I think this is sort of where the trauma and ED aspects do flourish a little bit, like or the aspects of how that might affect him sexually. Like
And just the ultimate gaslight, I've hinted about her throughout this entire stream that we've discussed.
have you? Ooh,
Hmm. True, it leads even more rabbit holes. That's what I meant. I went down a couple of rabbit holes and hinted at a couple of things,
If
but
you tell
she
wait. If you tell me that she's somehow related to Rudy in some way, shape, or form, and that this is just like a weird Oedipus moment type of thing, it's like that's your cousin, Rudy. Ding 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 ding. Ding. Like, let me get some Alabama guitar up in here, like, bro.
Sweet home Alabama.
I am gonna like lose my mind. But aside from that, I feel like because he is cold at first, right? Because he's gone through a lot of trauma. Uh, the others might at first be like see him as that tool, that like expert magician type thing that most people would try and use him for, right? But if he starts to soften up, slowly but surely, they might really start seeing what's underneath those layers.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting types of adventurers out there. So I feel like regardless of whether he's up bubbly or not, he's going to have some confrontations. But the question is how those confrontations going to unfold, because adventurers come in all shapes and sizes. There's the easygoing ones, there's the difficult ones, there's the very blunt and challenging ones, the leader types, the I'm a leader, but I'm not really quite fit for that position. And then there's possible people that are adventurers that probably are just come from difficult circumstances that had to get into a profession that they're not so much wanting to be in, but it's kind of like that job that you have to do kind of thing. And Rudy being the kind of person he is, royal name behind it, gifted, broody, upstart, new guy to the block. How is all of these people going to interact with him?
I just showed up this picture that you have on here, and I'm like, "Hey, yo!" Sorry, it's me. It caught my attention instantly while scrolling. I was like, "Hey, yo!" Yeah, I. That's what I'm saying. I love your channel. I love like your tweets and everything. I get a lot of good info out of that. Um, I think that the way that they might yeah, I know you guys saw that. I think the way that they might interact with one another, and this is sort of what I'm waiting for, is there a big, because there has to be a moment of separation, because clearly he's going back to the uni, and now my big thing is when they separate and go their own way, is this after Rudy tries to, or like, they try to sleep together, or has this already
So
been
your
planned?
theory is that there's going to be some type of possible attempt at a relationship between this blonde girl and Rudy.
I think so. And I think because of trauma, he might not be able to perform. And I think that might cause just some friction happening between them and some sort of separation where it's either she dies or, the party sort of goes away, or they're like, hey, we're off to our next grand adventure, or something like that. Because Rudy, maybe it's just passing by. Maybe this is just Rudy literally going from town to town and just a passerby or something, but clearly they're not meant to stay together long term.
How do you think Rudy's going to react to finding out to that possible disorder that he has?
I think it's a major stressor. I think it's one of those moments where a lot of individuals, for example, I'll quote this with real life stuff. A lot of individuals, once they start finding out that they have some sort of sexual disorder, they hyperfixate on it. Oh, I'm gonna go get the rhino bug insect that helps you stay hard 24/7, and they try it and it doesn't help. Like, sure, they get blood, like, roll, like, blood going all over the body, but that still doesn't make sexual activity fulfilling. There's a difference between, for example, I hate to put it this way, there's a difference between fucking and sex, right? Or emotional intimacy. And I think that's a big aspect in all of that, which is, what is he trying to do? Is he trying to experience emotional intimacy, or is he just trying to get laid? And if which case, if he's struggling and if there's even physical trauma present and he can't even get laid, then that's like a big cognitive distortion that's already present, which I can't get laid, therefore my emotional intimacy can never be validated. Oh, you asking so many good questions, SB. I'm like on the verge of like exploding over here.
Oh, I've got a question. I'm just debating on how I'm going to ask it and if I should ask it. So the fact is that you believe that Rudy has a an issue down in the pants, and you
Right.
believe that fits could be the answer to that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you think Fitz is enough?
I think she's the individual that may start the process of change for him. Because I don't think I'm gonna be straight up with a lot of people. Hey, healing isn't automatic. Oh yeah, SB and I get together and all of a sudden I've changed. I'm a new man. You know, that type of a thing. Sure, you might feel that way, especially if you haven't had some in a long time, realistically speaking. However, that doesn't automatically change your entire outlook. That starts the process of change. And I think that's a big aspect in all of this. If we were to be together and be able to go ahead and like maintain that emotional intimacy and grow throughout everything and not have any complications, and maybe yeah, like it might just be one of those things where it's like I'm starting to fix myself or fix myself. I'm starting to heal. I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to do so many things thanks to SB always being there. But then again comes into, hey, what if there's other people that try and get into a relationship and I'm open to that? Am I okay? Are you okay with that? Or am I okay with that? Or where are the boundaries drawn? And this goes 101 directions. But man, SB, before we continue, I do gotta go off in a little bit because I do have to do a bunch of homework for my doctoral classes.
So good. Yeah, we get pretty deep, and I just lose track of time.
Oh yeah, I lose track of time too. But I do want to say, SB, I love you. I really fucking do. SB has always stolen my heart. That's why I'm like, he's the Riz master because he came in, he stole our hearts, and then he's like, all right, we're gonna go deep, boys, guys. I know we said we were gonna watch Only My, but school for me does come first because at the end of the day, it's thanks to the school that we're able to go and do so many things. Make sure you follow SB at everywhere SB related. He has 2 different channels. He's absolutely amazing. Um, and I can't say this enough, guys. If you guys want to catch SB, especially on here, and Nat for whenever Nat makes her appearance for Mushoku Tensei, we'll solidify what day that is, and we'll throw that up and make sure that you guys know because it's gonna be some long, long streams. I think.
I mean, a 1 minute and something long trailer, and this is already blown out to multi-hour parts. So,
Fuck.
and
With
I already know the parts that's going to break you as well. So, and you've not guessed them. So,
oh, oh. Well, I hope I might turn into an emoji reactor if at any point that comes through. With that being said, guys, if you guys want to help out, currently we do have someone that's matching every donation done. We're trying to get a better camera because right now my camera's like 720p or something, so we're trying to get better equipment. There's the QR code, whatnot. Aroff is helping us out for like every month in June. If you guys want to donate, feel free. It helps out the channel. That's why I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. But I do want to say, SB, are you excited for a hours long talk? I am. I'm excited for our
oh, I am.
discussions, and I'm also excited
I'm
for
really hyped.
I'm excited for like the normalization process that probably gonna happen between all 3 of us of like bringing down these concepts of like how people are like, oh, anime is not realistic, and then bringing it down and then showing examples and whatnot. I am 1,000% excited.
Oh yeah, I am as well. And just some of the topics that are going to be discussed are really, really going to be some interesting ones. And you've already pretty much guessed that they're going to be pretty deep. They're going to be grounding a lot of characters. And so yeah, I think there's going to be some very deep and yeah, it's going to be very deep and interesting because there's a lot of characters in this story. There's a lot of moving pieces, and because of the interactions and the chemistry, it's going to be a big part of just some interesting flavors to add to the story. And how Rudy goes through this journey and where this concludes and how he overcomes these issues, I think is what's going to be the biggest discussion.
And I can't wait. I literally can't wait. June 2nd can't come soon enough. And especially once we decide on the schedule and we post it out, I hope people are gonna be like swarming to try and throw us off or point fingers. You guys are breaking the internet. No. I'm super
It's going to be fun to see them go up on your channel and just seeing like those reactions, the streams, the uploads, and all that. That's going to be fun.
that's all right, people here on Twitch. Yo, I appreciate y'all. Show SB some love. I can't say that enough. Like literally my brother from another mother. Like the Riz Master himself coming onto stream, winning people's hearts. And with that, hey, I hope you guys practice that self care. Stay safe. Any final messages, SB?
Stay safe, enjoy life. Remember to stay positive. I mean, that's the one best tip for being a Riz Master, is that you've just got to listen, be open-minded, and be positive, because the moment you're not positive, your brain takes you away and it doesn't allow you to be effective. So that's my Riz Master advice for the stream.
With that, guys, praise the Holy Relic, praise the Holy Riz Master, praise the wizards all around the world, all the doctors, and take care of your family, guys. Please do, people that you love and care about. Check in with your friends. Love y'all. Practice that self-care. And if you guys are on YouTube, hey, nice to see you. I hope that you guys are as excited as I am for Nat to join us later on, and for SB for future Mushoku Tensei streams, analysis, react, everything together. It's going to be fucking fire.